ever tell you the funniest thing that happened to Jess? She went to go use my computer one time for a chat for school, and we had just done a podcast that was we did backgrounds. It was one of our first Zoom ones, and I made my background Kim Jong-un because it was when we all thought he died.
Yeah.
And she signed into a class with her background as Kim Jong-un.
I'm sure that was a great
She got it. She closed it down super fast.
That reminds me. So we're getting our house renovated right now. It is just gutted. Our kitchen is gutted. The podcast has started, by the way. We're deep into it. But so the contractor that was working on that, I was trying to text you guys in our DweeBros group chat. And I was like, hey, blah, blah, DweeBros this, I need that or whatever. Is that fine? We'll do the podcast on this date or whatever we were talking about. And I sent it to the contractor instead. And I was like, this looks like gibberish. It looks like alien language. And I had to be like, sorry, wrong person. He sent back the crying emoji. So
that's what he says. I'll be happy to join you.
Yeah. So maybe we'll have the contractor on the podcast. But you know what? We have somebody better than my contractor. We have Jacob back. Welcome back to the podcast.
Hey guys, what's going on, man? I don't feel like I've ever left. It hasn't really been that long.
I think it was 3 months ago because the last two. So it was 3 months ago.
Dude, time flies.
Time flies.
We missed you on Game of the Year. What was your Game of the Year?
Yeah, it all sucked. If I had to pick. Shoot, It Takes Two is probably the only game that I think had any kind
that was up for me. I was up there.
No, I would probably Mass Effect Legendary Edition was up there because it came out in 2021.
Yeah.
I just now got around to beating it, but it was phenomenal. But I don't think that should count. Yeah. I mean, I think we all left. I mean, if I had the general consensus of the podcast, 2021 just sucked for video games.
Yeah, when we did the podcast, we were all just trying to. It was the first year none of us had like a home run. Like none of us had something. Every year, I think since 2015, I've had a home run. Like I know that it's either been hard to pick a number one because there's so many good ones, or there was like one that we knew was gonna win, but.
Yeah,
I can make the argument like, hey, Resident Evil 8, that would be up there.
Yeah,
that was a really good game. There was like some good, but I don't think there's any like home run hitters.
Yeah, there was nothing that was like major. Yeah.
Did Nintendo do anything?
I don't think any Nintendo stuff was in our top three, was it, Travis?
Yeah, I feel like Nintendo slept this year.
Yeah, they were sleeping. They went to bed.
They were working on that Switch OLED.
Yeah,
hey,
which is awesome.
Metroid Dread was, I think, in our.
Yeah.
Dread came out.
I haven't beat that your game. Top three, so it did make it. So
that game, well, I'll talk about. I played that too. I can talk about that as well.
I don't agree that it was the worst year. There were no home runs, and there were just a lot of games that would typically fall in your runner-up category. Like a lot of the games felt to me like what would normally be an honorable mention of like I liked it,
Yeah.
But it was good though, and we had a good podcast. Jacob, you were missed. But it's a new year, new me, and new you, new all of us, right? Is that how the saying goes?
I think that is kind of wordy, but it goes that far, yeah.
It's a new year, but same process. Let's keep that in mind. The idea. That's what we're moving forward to. Yeah. You know, it was a terrible process.
What?
100%. Playing Deathloop.
Now wait. I put in our group chat. I was giving updates on games I finally got a chance to play. First was Returnal, which we'll talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Gave like a one sentence like, here's what I think about this game. Well, actually, Deathloop was first, and then I played Returnal. Deathloop, I said, this game sucks, LOL, I think was what I said. Jacob, you defended it. You said, I'm having a lot of fun with it. I was like, oh, okay.
Let me explain to you why I started to lose patience with this game.
Okay.
Deathloop is an interesting concept. I don't know, Zach, if has broken it down to anybody who listens. Because the concept's honestly like one of something like I don't.
The concept's cool. The concept is cool as a whole.
I think of Dark Souls, but like on a cooler level, because it's not really Dark Souls based. But you run around, shoot them up, kind of thing, clear up the levels. But your goal is you have to repeat the same day every day, and you have to kill off 4 people. And it's 4 people you're trying to kill, and you have to do it all in the same loop. And at any point you die, the loop resets. Well, what was really cool about this game was the world. I really liked the world. I loved the voice actor for the, what's his name? Can't remember the main character's name.
Is it Cole?
Cole, yeah, Cole. There you go. Love the voice actor for Cole. I liked the weapons. I liked that kind of feel. I liked that kind of gameplay. I liked the shooting elements of it. The one thing I hated was Juliana, and here's why. I am okay at shooters. I'm not the greatest. I play a lot of them, but I'm not like amazing. There are people these days who are just cracked out of their mind at just shooters. Like, they're just insanely good. And nothing's worse when you go through 2 runs and you have 2 people down and you're like, this is the run, and Juliana pops in and she kills you. And you're like, okay, this sucks. I have to restart.
It's like basically, I don't know if you explained, like, it's like a computer invader, basically.
Exactly.
Your world.
Well, see, the issue is Juliana can invade a computer, or it can be a living person.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, a regular person can be.
I was doing the real person one because I didn't think it'd be that big of a deal. And so eventually I kept playing. I was like, dang, this continues. Like, this is ticking me off. Like, so I was going to switch. I was going to switch to the computer version. And I was like, I wonder what it's like to be Juliana. You know, like, I want to play as Juliana. So I started playing as Juliana, and then I'm getting crapped on. And so I was just like, I think I officially like hit the point where I was just like, I'm not good enough at this game, and I have zero desire to get good enough at this game to beat it.
Yeah.
That's where I hit my like, there are some games where I feel like this game has mechanics to which I can just get better at. But when I took the place as Juliana and I was getting pooped on, I was just like, yeah, you know, okay, game.
Yeah. Is it a case of, as you play more and more as Cole, you get more power-ups and more abilities, and maybe you're getting invaded by Julianas that have been playing longer and have more abilities?
There's that, but the other issue is that you lose some of those abilities when you die, and you lose your guns. So you have to restart the loop all over again. And that's like
you saved
super
some
annoying.
Stuff. I didn't play. I played maybe 5-ish hours of it, if that, 3 to 5. It just played terribly to me was my issue with it. It just felt that it's the jankiest game I've played of late. That concept of, I did die, and I was like, oh, I have to do everything. And then what they tell you is basically the whole purpose of the game, or the whole goal, is you have to go around this map. And I do like, that's what it goes to. Like, the concept is really cool, and I think it could have been done better. But you have to go to different parts of this island, and you have to take out these targets. You have to take out 8 targets, all in one run. So if you take out 2 and you die, you have to go back and take out those 2 again. So the goal of the game, to get the credits, you have to beat all 8 targets without dying.
Completing the loop.
Completing it, yeah.
But I'm assuming as you play the loops and you fail, you're getting certain things that help you. You're getting knowledge, and you're getting different types of power-ups over time to where you can last longer.
Now, you can get those power-ups, you're right, but again, the moment you die, you lose, unless it's a major one, which I think one of the major ones was the revival one, where you get killed, your body stays in stasis.
Yeah, I'm not talking about like loot. Typically with these kinds of games, there's like loot that you lose at the end of the run. But typically there will be like a meta currency or like a meta set of abilities you're growing in the background that are getting better over time. Does this not have that?
Yeah, you do get new abilities and stuff. There's stuff I didn't open up.
I don't want to play on the same map 20 times for 20 hours.
That was my issue. I was like, in that, I think, I just don't think I like roguelikes. Because of that, like, I was playing and I was like, you die and it's like, I have to go back and do that whole thing again. Like, I know I have like more knowledge now to like traverse it a little bit better, but I'm just bored. I just get bored out of my gourd of like trying to go back and do the same thing. So I'm having trouble completing any roguelike. I have not beat any roguelike because of that. I'm having a big issue with it.
I think my biggest issue just came back to the fact that I just don't like grindy games. Any games that involve a grind, I'm out on.
Yeah.
Like, you get me for a second. Like, I think Destiny is the only game I can say to this day that I'm like, I grinded on that game for a minute, and I enjoyed it. There was parts where I enjoyed it. Now, if you want me to grind by myself, I never did that. I had to be with friends. That was the only way for me to do that. So anything that involves a type of grind is just annoying.
Being rewarded too. And I hate losing all my rewards. Like, when I die and lose all the stuff that, like, oh, I had a good run and I was able to get this ability and, dude, I was, like, had all these bullets and all this stuff was going great. Awesome. And then I lose that and then I start again. It's like, oh, yeah, this power, you can run a tiny bit faster now. Oh, I lost all, like, I spent like 3 hours on that run.
A waste of time.
I just am like, I put it away. I'm like, I want to spend time with a game that like keeps rewarding me, and I'm like not losing my progress, like ginormous parts of it. That just kills my mood. It just kills my motivation to complete the game. So I don't know. Yeah. That's a personal thing.
I think if you like,
there's a lot of people that did like Deathloop, and it was, I mean,
I love the concept. I'll defend the concept. Honestly, the gameplay was fine. I don't even think like it just was like. It became a grind, and I become uninterested in grind. Uninterested in grind games.
Yeah.
Well, I can't speak to Deathloop. I have it. I'm planning to play it eventually, but I'm kind of buried right now in these roguelike type games between that, Returnal, and so I did just beat a game that is in that same, it's like not a first-person game, but in that same vein, which is Hades. I made credits roll on Hades. I've completed that game. And that was a game that, I mean, when it came out, I bought it and I played it, maybe like 5 hours. And I think where I kind of landed was, well, like I'm getting into this, there's like 4 areas basically. I'm getting close, and each area has a boss. Like I'm getting close to the end of the 3rd area, but I kept dying, maybe on like 10 or 12 runs. And a run only took like 20 minutes or so, but I just kind of was like, I feel like I've kind of stalled out on this, and I stepped away from it for a while. But when I got the Switch OLED, I wanted to play something that I hadn't played, all the way to completion, or I hadn't played in a while. And I was like, well, this game looks amazing. This would be a fun one to play on the Switch OLED. So I reinstalled it, and that game really caught me the second time around. It's a lot of the same stuff that like you guys are saying, in terms of, you die and then you have to start back over. I think Hades does some smart things with the way that it does that. So every time you die, it snaps you right back to obviously, the start of the game, but there's like a hub world basically of like 3 or 4 or 5 NPCs that you're getting to know, and you're learning more about their story. And it's these quick, snappy conversations, almost reminded me a little bit of like Mass Effect, where you would go back to the ship in between missions and talk to people. And when I just started liking some of those characters a lot, and the interactions are like 2 or 3 text boxes. It's not like super long where you're sitting there forever, but it does a good job of when you die, it immediately puts you into something else that feels like a continuation of the story.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel like you're just, like I've played a good bit of Returnal. When you die, you're pretty much just starting by your ship again. There's nobody there you're talking to. And I never got the same dialogue twice. It was always moving further and further forward, which I appreciated. And actually, as I got deeper and deeper into that game, it surprised me that it still was giving me new things and new abilities. And it was really cool. It kept it fresh. There is a little bit of fatigue with like some of the opening areas because you go through them so many times. But I got so much better at Hades the more I played it. Like now when I look back at how I used to play it, I probably have done 56 runs in the game. Like I've attempted 56 runs. I think I have 10 or 11 clears. It takes 10 clears of the game to get credits to roll. And a run where you clear could take like 30 minutes pretty much. So I played the game.
You have to get through the end 10 times?
You have to get to the end 10 times. And there's story reasons for that, because there's stuff after the areas that you're like getting to, but it's all story based. It's not like an arbitrary, you have to do this 10 times. You don't even actually know how many times it is.
I was like, maybe I will go back and try that, but hearing I have to do it 10 times.
Well, I'll put it to you this way, Zach. It took me 30 clears to get my first clear. After that, I cleared it 8 times in a row. Like with different weapons, because there's 6 different weapons in the game. They all control differently. Like I beat that the run 10 times, and I only used the same weapon on 2 of the runs. I used the bow twice and the shield twice. I had different builds each time. There's the different gods, and they all give you different types of power-ups. Once it clicked and I really understood what you got to do to beat everybody consistently, I was churning through runs in like 25 minutes, and I was getting there. I was getting to the final boss every time. Like, it wasn't like maybe I'll get to the final boss, maybe I won't. Like, I was getting to him every single time, and first it was beating him by a little bit, then it was beating him pretty handily, then I was kicking his ass, and that was satisfying to me in a way that I've never really had with these types of games before. But I also think, from what I've heard, people consider Hades kind of like the gold standard in terms of what these types of games are. So, you know, maybe I just like this one, but I don't know that you'll like it. You already own it, but I think you would have to go into it with a mindset of, okay, 75% of my time with this game will be trying to get that first clear. And then after that, it's using all the weapons and using all the things, and basically like, you get a satisfying conclusion if you just get through it once. I think it's worth getting through it once, but then to make credits roll and have the final ending, you have to repeat that cycle a few times. But using the different weapons, like the shield is like a Captain America. You're throwing it, you can use it to block. The bow, you're standing back and doing critical shots. You know, there's a gun, like you get a rifle, like an automatic rifle that shoots like nukes, and you can do stuff like it's fun. It's a lot of fun, but I don't know, though. It seems like these types of games have not gelled well for you.
But I will say that one was the most interesting, and like I like everything that all these games do on paper. Sounds like something, if you show me on paper, it's like, that sounds rad. But when I'm actually playing it, my motivation gets sucked out of me. Like, it's just, it absolutely, like, I have no desire to continue with these games. Hades was cool when you would die, like he's talking about, when you would die sometimes you're in like it would put you in a dream state and you're in this whole different thing, and like the story kind of moves in interesting ways. I thought it was good at changing that pace. I think I just, my brain's wired in a way where I just lose desire really quickly with some of this stuff.
I don't know if it's me just getting older or what it is, but any game that involves me any game that involves me having to backtrack and redo something that I already have completed, I instantly knock at a point. I'm like, I'm done with you. Like, if I'm like, hey, you have to go back to this level, I'm done. I don't want to go back. I passed you for a reason. I moved on. Yeah,
I get that. Yeah, I would just say, Jacob, these types of games have a different goal. It's not about getting through it once, it's about mastering it.
Yeah, see, and that's where I just get lost. I'm like, I don't need to master something in my life. I need to play a story. That's just who I am. And I think that's just I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe the games are changing. That's what makes me think of that idea. Because when you say Hades, I think of like, you know, you beat Resident Evil 8. That was a great game in my opinion. But it was really straightforward to the point. I feel like I didn't have to like really catch myself going back and forth. It was just a straight path to an end.
We're getting older. There's the When You Were Young concert in Las Vegas. There's just stuff that's for us senior citizens in the world nowadays.
What did you think of Resident Evil 8, Travis?
Yeah, I finished Resident Evil 8. I guess it's called Village, too, by some people. I don't know.
Yeah, I call it 8.
I call it 8, too. I finished it, and I really liked it. I am so glad I played this, because I have maybe 2 hours into Resident Evil 7. I'm more of the action end of Resident Evil. I played 4, and I loved that. I didn't really ever finish the first 3. So to me, like 7 is not like why I'm at the party, basically, even though people love 7, and I'm actually playing 7 now after I've beaten 8, but 8 is a blend of the two. It's definitely scary at moments, but 8 is really, it's funny. It's like the world is almost similar to Hades, where in Hades you have your like home hub, and then you've got 4 areas that you have to complete. Resident Evil 4 or 8 also has a home village area, and then there's these 4 big areas. Like there's the castle with the tall lady, there's the little house overlooking the river with the little dolls, the Beneviento house. There is the swamp, I guess you would call it, with the fish guy. It was named Merlin. I don't know what his name was. And then there is a factory with Heisenberg.
Heisenberg.
What I will say, yeah, Heisenberg. What I will say about this game is the first half of this game is, I think, masterpiece level. Like everything from when you first get to the village, you go to the castle, you're back in the village, and the village is almost like a little mini Metroidvania where you're like getting into the different houses and figuring out how to get to the next area. Then to the House Beneviento. All of that is perfect. And this has one of the best horror areas ever, which is House Beneviento with the baby.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say. The baby. Oh my gosh. That was top horror stuff I've ever seen.
Go ahead.
So even though I love those first two areas, I will say the second two areas, the swamp, kind of sucked. It was kind of a letdown. Not my favorite boss, not my favorite area. And then there is like a cave area where you fight a bunch of lichens. That was all right. And then the factory visually was really cool, but man, it drug on. And it felt like you were down in that factory. Like Heisenberg kicks you down into the very basement and you climb your way out level 4, level 3, level 2, level 1. And then he kicks your ass back down there again. And it just was long.
It kind of was a roguelike.
It was just a long sequence. And then the boss fight with Heisenberg, I was disappointed in it because it turned into like he was a giant metal monster and you were in like a Metal Gear thing driving around shooting rockets. It was cool, but it was just kind of like a little over the top. So all that being said, and then how can I forget the epilogue with Chris at the end where you basically go commando and it's like full-on Predator, like you're running around with machine guns just blowing everybody away.
I've not heard the later half of this game. It is cracking me up. I've not heard any of this. So.
Oh, it's insanity.
It definitely cranks it up. Like right here's the 10 and it just takes it to 15. But I think 8 does a great job continuing the story from 7. And I think that's why I enjoyed it so much was like those characters are really cool. But then you find out Ethan and why he the way he is and the things he does and why he does it, why his kid is who his kid is. And I think if anything, the ending made me more excited for where they're going to go for it. Because now it's like, oh, this could get wild. Like this could get off the chain.
Well, let's open it up just a little bit, and then I know we got a lot of other games we need to get to. Like, do you care if we talk about spoilers, Zach, of this game? I don't think you care.
Resident Evil spoilers start right here.
So all I'm gonna say is Ethan is the most lovable idiot on earth. Like I just like his hand gets cut off. He's like, what the hell? Like he's just so
Splash
stupid.
Some goo on it.
Yeah, and then he just puts it back on and just like pours something on it.
I have heard like the most horrid things will happen to him or in front of him, like the most disgusting, vile things.
Oh yeah,
and he'll go, "What the hell was that?"
Or,
he'll
say the S word.
Yeah,
he'll say, "You sicko, you sicko."
The most horrid things you're gonna believe will happen. He's like,
and that's what got me through some of the scarier parts in this game is he's so dumb in the way he talks. But you said you like the story. I enjoy the story, but to me, it's just like horror schlock. Like it's just complete madness. Your wife wasn't really your wife at the beginning when she got killed. It was this other lady in disguise. They took your baby, Zach. In this game, they take the baby, your baby, and they cut her into pieces and put her in jars, and that's what you're getting for the bosses. You're stealing your baby back in jars and putting her back together. It's like just madness. It's complete madness. But at the end of the game, basically, Ethan dies. And then in the post credits, they're kind of pitching it as the daughter will continue the story. And so to me, I love you, Resident Evil. Do whatever. All these weird character connections and the president's daughter and all this stuff. It's like it's got a little bit of Metal Gear to it. Just how nonsensical it is.
You saw the movie recently, didn't you? Resident Evil.
Yeah.
How was that?
I did.
How was that?
I liked it. My wife and I went.
People were crapping on it, but you seemed to like it. So.
People were way too harsh on it. I thought it was a really fun movie. I really thought it was pretty well done. If you want to know the truth, it combines Resident Evil 1 and 2 and has them take place at the same time. So while the STARS team is at the mansion, Leon and Claire are in the town, and it's just I thought it's not the best acting in the world from some of the side characters.
Have to fix my dog situation, but keep talking.
Oh, you're fine.
Keep talking.
You're fine. I didn't think it was like masterfully acted or anything, but I actually thought it was a pretty good little horror action movie. We had a lot of fun with it.
I feel like there's been how many 2 or 3 of Resident Evil movies.
Well, so pause. There are 7 Resident Evil live action movies.
Really?
There are 7 Resident Evil live action movies, but they've all been directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. Those are not like, they don't follow the games.
No.
The Resident Evil movies of old do not follow the games. Mila Jovovich plays like some girl named, I don't know, Janice. I don't know what her name is. Like, she plays somebody that's not in the games. They don't follow the story of the games. It's just as Raccoon City is the only thing that stayed the same. But the new movie is a reboot of the movie series, so it's not tied to the older movies at all.
Okay, and I knew that much. I didn't know there was that many of them. I knew there was a few movies. But I didn't know, holy crap, there's 7 of them. That's an insane amount of Resident Evil. I think I'm going to go ahead and mention my thing, because the rumors are The Rock is helping and starring in a future video game movie. And one of the video games that's being rumored is that he's going to be Captain Shepard.
Oh, I didn't hear about that. I thought it was going to be Call of Duty. I saw it was the last rumor.
It was a bunch of different rumors.
Captain Shepard?
Captain Shepard is The Rock?
That again, this is a rumor, but he just teased that there's a movie coming that's based on a video game franchise. I didn't know if maybe they did say it, but everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, it's going to be Shepard," because of the picture he tweeted out.
You know, I don't know if that is. I don't actually know if that's bad, because Captain Shepard is not very he's kind of a cardboard cutout. Yeah. Like, I don't know if I want The Rock, but. Now, I heard Henry Cavill was rumored to be in a Mass Effect project. Are they both supposed to be in it?
I have no... It could be that Rock's just starring it. Who knows? And that's where I would almost see a fact check to double check and make sure he didn't announce, because this was like a week ago.
Well, I heard the rumor
Rock's
was
Gears
of War.
Rock's is going to be Rex.
Oh, dude, that would be hilarious.
I heard the rumor was Gears of War for The Rock.
See, so we're hearing a bunch of different things.
Wow, lots of rumors.
Yeah. So The Rock he's working on a video game, but I did complete my official 3rd run through of Mass Effect. But this time, my first run through of Mass Effect, the Legendary Edition. Played 1, 2, and 3. Well, scratch that. I played 2 and 3. I started playing 1. And I'm going to tell you why I think Mass Effect 1 is one of the worst of the series.
You're getting a foul look from Travis.
That's fine. And the only reason why I don't like Mass Effect, I think Mass Effect has great characters, and it sets the foundation for what Mass Effect is. The gameplay of it is atrocious. I mean, it is awful. It doesn't shoot well. It doesn't move well. You have to micromanage the crap out of your other 2 people. And then on top of that, this difficulty scaling is ridiculous, because if you don't micromanage them, you're screwed. But if you set it to too low, it's so easy that it's boring. So it's almost like this is really annoying. I'm getting really annoyed. The combat doesn't shoot well already, and now I'm having to keep control of the 2 butt heads that are behind me, always in a triangle.
It's been so long, I cannot remember what I think of the first one.
My other issue with the first one is that you sit in the Citadel for at least half the game, in my opinion. I just think that. Travis, you're shaking your head no, but I feel like I spend at least forever at the Citadel.
It's not true.
I disagree. So, and nonetheless...
I mean, the second thing's not true. You're in the Citadel for 2 story missions, and then you spend the rest of the game on other planets.
You can be in the Citadel for a long time if you choose to be in the Citadel for a long time, which I always choose to be, because I complete every little ounce of this game before I ever try to move on. Anyways, I found out that there's a comic book section in Mass Effect 2 where if you skip Mass Effect 1, you can just fill out your choices from Mass Effect 1 and go straight into 2. And I went that route because I did not want to play Mass Effect 1 again. Filled out my choices because I knew what I was going to do already. And I got to pick up, in my opinion, the best game in the franchise, which is Mass Effect 2.
Yeah.
And, man, what a phenomenal freaking game. It had me, I didn't think it had me sucked in as much as it did until I realized I spent 3 straight days playing it. Like, I woke up, I sat on my couch and I was like, I should probably work at some point. And I started playing and I looked down like, oh crap, it's 2 o'clock. I didn't do anything today. I run into my office and quickly do some work and then run back and play it again. It just got me. Like it was during Christmas break when I was already not doing anything as it was. And it just drew me in and I played it. I put about 40 hours into that one. Had a perfect run through without the help of a guide with Mass Effect 2 at the end. Which those are always my favorite. The one thing I was really ticked about, I was worried, because they always say going into the end mission, spoiler, if you haven't played it, you're screwed up.
Whoa, dude, I'm about ready to play it. No.
Spoiler, I'm not spoiling anything. Okay, well, good luck then, I guess. But I did have a perfect run through, for the first time ever, I did a perfect run through without help. Because... yeah, so Mass Effect 2 is great. We played Mass Effect 3. My only complaint with 3 is forever going to be, you know what?
Nobody talks about 3 except for the ending, but is it actually a good game? Are we sure it's actually a good game? Because
I like
people just
2 the
complain about
best,
the
but
ending.
3 has cool things they put you into, like scenarios. I was going,
Yep.
It's cool that you get to do those. It kind of just feels like a really big ending. Is what 3 is. Like, it's a very long, like, finale.
It's a giant crescendo.
Episode. Yes.
It's constant. The 3, here's the thing.
I enjoy
2,
it. I enjoy it.
2 takes you up and down, where 3 is like, we're constantly building. We're building. And when you end, boom. Like, I'm talking like, you just drop, like, through the floor. And that's what I like 3. I think 3 has some of the best combat elements, some of the best progression elements. I love the army building elements of it, which you'll get.
Army building elephant. Wow.
Elements.
Yeah, these elephants in space, man.
Because based on how you do it affects your ending and how it goes. That's where I'm just like, but the ending it just drains me. But I will say, and I want you guys to hear me out here. Beating this again has inspired me to re-download Mass Effect Andromeda.
Okay, we're gonna try it again.
I want to give it another go. Like it's been like 7 years since it came out, or 6 years. It's been forever.
It's been
I forget
6
how long
years.
ago.
No, 5 years. 5 years. 5 years.
Maybe 5. It's been a long time since it came out, and I'm just like maybe. It got updated.
Maybe it got better in 5 years. And maybe it's like fine wine or like milk. We'll see.
The good news is we're supposed to get another Mass Effect game that is supposed to be more in line in the correct Milky Way
galaxy.
Maybe
a movie with The Rock as Rex.
That would be awesome.
Let me ask you. You've cleared it. You've beaten this trilogy 3 times, right? Mm-hmm. Have you ever played as female Shepard?
No.
Because I've seen so many people say that the female Shepard version is so much better. Like, so many people say that.
They say that you have better dialogue content, but I think it's just because they want to have sex with Garrus.
Oh, that could be true.
Okay.
Hey, I will say this. Garrus is my ride or die.
Yeah.
I don't know, Travis, you played
like
one.
A better choice to me.
I like Garrus.
Garrus is a bro. I will just say, I mean, the Mass Effect 1 slander that you dropped at the beginning of all this is just insanity. It's the only one I've played, but it's a great game even today. But I bought the Legendary Collection, and I have it, and I'm going to play through those games again. But I made the decision I'm not going to play 1 again because I've beaten 1 4 times, and every time I beat 1, I intend to go play 2 and 3 after. But by the time I get through a 30-hour RPG, like the last thing I want to do is sit down and play the next one.
No, I do.
So I'm going through a podcast series right now. I'll shout them out. It's called Resonant Arc. It's actually the one we've talked about that does.
I've been watching that. I watched another episode the other day. Started those up again.
They're doing Mass Effect right now, a much shorter series on Mass Effect 1 than they did for Xenogears. I think they did 20 episodes for Xenogears. I think the Mass Effect is going to be like 6 episodes. So I'm on episode 2 of that. What I like is because they're so thorough, it feels like playing the game again. They talk about every quest.
That's how I'm doing with Xenogears. I feel like I'm playing it again. I don't need to.
Yeah. So that's how I'm re-experiencing Mass Effect. And now I asked that because the one guy on there, he had never played as the female Shepard before, and he's doing it now, and he's like, the acting is so much better than he would have ever known. So when I play 2 and 3, I'm debating of if I should just go female Shepard or not. So
you can. I always like going male Shepard because, again, that's just how I've always been. And I've watched YouTube videos of female Shepard, and the voice acting is different. I can't say it's better. I don't think that'd be fair.
Yeah.
But I do think it's different. So
Gotcha.
they might not be wrong in that idea. Man, Travis, when you get to Mass Effect 3, there's a part, and I'm going to tell you, like, when you get there, they're going to introduce you something, and it's really important you don't do it until a certain moment. Because if you do it too early, it ruins the entire experience.
I don't even know what this is, but
okay.
Do you know what I'm talking about, Zach?
I don't know what you're talking about, so maybe I dodged a bullet. Maybe I did it right.
Did you play the DLC of Mass Effect 3?
The DLC just changed the ending, didn't it? Didn't it just kind of...
Nope. It added a whole nother layer, another level.
Oh,
it was like an additional 7 hours of gameplay. I
didn't do that then.
It is an absolute... It's almost like a, hey, here's another layer of ending, but here's like the icing on the cake that you really want.
Wait, is the thing I'm not supposed to do till later the DLC?
Mm-hmm.
Does it make it clear that it's DLC?
Nope. It gives you it says, hey, basically what happens is someone tells you to dock the ship for maintenance, and as soon as you dock the ship in a certain place, the DLC kicks off, and you can't get out of it.
Oh, cool.
So if you started too early, you won't get the full experience of the DLC because you started it too early.
I like having to follow a guide to play a game.
Well, speaking of having to follow a guide to play a game, I'm playing The Witness. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not fully following a guide, but I am playing The Witness, and I am trying to rack my brain about games that I've played that I wanted to love that I'm extremely frustrated with at times, and I would put The Witness. Talk about wasting your time. I would put this game in that category of I really love parts of it, but it wastes your freaking time on stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
Me and Jonathan Blow are going to go to blows because I hate one of my biggest disappointments in the indie game space was Braid. I hate Braid. I think Braid is a 1 out of 5 game.
Braid was just fine. It was whatever.
I think Braid is a very bad game with a cool mechanic that went viral that people got really excited about. Period. I really like his philosophy of how he designs his games. I like interviews with him. But The Witness...
What happened to The Witness?
So The Witness, I'm probably about 5 to 10 hours into it. I restarted it this most recent playthrough because I played it a lot back in the day. I would just say I feel like so the way the game's set up is there's a big island, and as you approach, you know, these different like line puzzles, each kind of area has its own set of mechanics, you know, so to speak, and you basically will just try to figure out like what's going on with that set of mechanics, and then you'll hit a wall sometimes because it'll introduce something you don't know and you don't know how to do it, so you need to leave. And so I would just say I love the game in the sense of it's very ambitious. I do feel like it's got really cool things going for it. I like how it weaves different elements of puzzles and mechanics in with other areas. And I need to finish the game to fully form my thoughts. But what I've been running into is I feel like some of the solutions are extremely contrived. And I feel like some of the ways that the mechanics are, quote, explained, like environmentally, are like some of them work and some of them don't. And for the ones that work, it's really cool. Like there's one... imagine you walk through a little maze, and then at the end of the maze, there's a representation of the maze you just walked through on a door. And you have to trace the way you just walked on there. Okay, cool. Well, that was one of the puzzles. I thought that was cool. And then the next one was there were multiple ways you could go through the maze. And so it took me like 20 minutes to figure it out, but I finally figured it out. When you walk in this maze, some areas your feet make different noise than others, so that's the path you trace is the certain sound, right? So that stuff really worked for me. But the flip side of that is some of these environmental clues are really obscure. I'm going through one right now that's shadow based. I just was never going to get this thing until I looked it up. I spent 30 minutes on it. I was trying everything, thinking of everything. And when I finally looked it up, I was like, okay, that was dumb. It's shadows. Okay. And then I'm doing it, and then I hit another wall, and then it's like, yeah, he like made it really hard to see the shadow at this part. So you kind of have to guess, you know, which, and it's just like, it felt like some of them I had to brute force. So I think it's a really good game. I just feel like some of the mechanics are a little iffy at times. Once I read the guide and I understand how it works, it's like, okay, I don't feel like, so here's how I'll sum it up. I feel like if you do puzzle 1, it teaches you a mechanic. Puzzle 2, another level of the mechanic. Puzzle 3, another level. The game does do that. Like, it does progress you through the mechanics, but it will sometimes throw 2 things at you at once, or it will the puzzles will go further down the logical road than my mind can keep up with, and then I am stuck for an extremely long time until I either brute force it, and then after I see the brute force solution, unpack what it must be, the logic. The tetraminos are the worst ones. The Tetris shapes, when you have to draw the Tetris shapes, some of the logic around how those work and how you have to connect certain Tetris shapes together is really, I don't think that I would have gotten it if I hadn't looked it up. And that part of it's a bummer to me. So I don't think it's a bad game.
See, as a genius, I loved this game because I'm a genius.
Yeah, maybe you got them all on the first try. But
no, what I would do, struggle. I ran into that same issue of like hitting a wall, and I would just go, I'm too dumb for this. I have to walk to the other part of the island, and I would just trek out from there. I'd be frustrated because I'm like, why can't I get this? Why can't I figure this out? And I would come back later and be like, oh yeah, like I learned other stuff, and it wasn't like I started between, you know, if there's 10, let's just say, for example, there's 10 puzzles in an area. It was never, I felt, maybe in some of the later, harder stuff, maybe. But, like, I never felt like I had to do 5 and then I hit a wall at that because I didn't learn that thing yet. It was like, I hadn't wired my brain that way. So I would have to stop, and I would go do other puzzles, and I'd come back basically with my new smart skills of like, oh, I've learned there's a trick to this game of, oh, use the environment. There was some very, like, some of the most satisfying moments I've had in a video game are in this, in The Witness, of like, there was stuff where I was like, I cannot figure this out until I looked at the environment, because I was like, this tree looks weird near this. And I found out you had to actually start the line on the tree. So imagine this whole game. I don't know if Jacob's like trying to follow along here, but there's like, imagine like if you go up to the museum, there's like a plaque. You know, like there's plaques or whatever around, like, hey, look at this thing, we're going to explain what it is. That's the whole game, is there's these plaques in front of you. But when you look down, you're doing puzzles. Well, in this game, you actually, like, you'll look at the plaque, but like you can move the cursor around and do these line puzzles and make sure you're drawing lines around shapes, all this stuff. But at one point, there's like a branch behind it, and you had to like actually click on the branch and then go on that, or like you were talking about the shadow stuff, like you had to use the shadow of the trees, and you couldn't go on that and stuff. But like when you figured that out, or when that clicked, it was like, I've never felt this in a video game I've ever played in my life. Like it was transformative. Like I've never felt that in my freaking 30 years of playing video games. Like it was.
So you didn't have to look up any of these.
What I did is I made a rule. When I started, I was like, I'm not going to look up anything. So there was times I was hitting the desk because I just couldn't do anything. But I made it a rule of like, I need to just go and do something else. Go to the other side of the island and start that. And sometimes I'd start that and I would get 15 out of 25 puzzles in that area, and I would be stuck. And I would punch myself in the head and I would leave. And I would go do something else, and I'd go to the other corner of the island and I would start that up. I did look them up when I got to the very, very, very end. Like if I'm absolutely at my wit's end of the corners of the island, I've done everything and I still can't figure it out, let me look at a clue, or let me look at the first one. And once I've got that, I was like, oh, okay, I have to wire my brain there and do that.
Yeah.
That's how I played it. But yeah.
I think it's hard. I think it's a game that the more you play it, the more intuitive it is, because you get more into the logic of the game. When you first start out, it can feel like you're just going area to area and getting nothing done.
Yes.
And that's been half of my time kind of with this game. Like the symmetry stuff and the boat house thing was very intuitive to start. But then like I got to a desert area, I could not figure anything out there. Now I've gone back, but like I even was stuck there for another 30 minutes the second time I went back, and I finally looked up a hint and it was like the sun will affect the panel, and I was like, okay, I got this now. Yeah. But like I just like I feel like it just some of the cues were just like not quite enough for me, like the way they're executed. I don't know, some of them have worked for me, and the ones that have worked have been really cool. The ones that haven't, it's been frustrating. So I'm just chilling out though, because I'm about a third of the way through the game. I've activated 4 of the lasers, I think, and I'm having more fun with it now that I've at least got a base like vocabulary. I know kind of how things work. Yeah. Some areas of that game I do get on a roll, and it like I did a greenhouse area and I got all the way through it, and I was like, this might be one of my favorite puzzle games ever. And then just other areas frustrated me a lot. So it's been a very case by case basis with this game, but I do like it.
Yeah. I think that's part of the experience. Like you were saying, like you did that and you're banging your head against the wall and you went to the greenhouse like, oh yeah, I'm freaking getting this, or I've got this concept. But it's funny. Did you unlock any of the extra stuff? There's like little hidden things you can unlock where, I don't want to spoil it. Did you unlock it? Do you know anything that's like an extra thing, like you got to see or whatever?
I don't think so, no.
I'll just, whatever. You can find like these film reels, and they'll like play on a projector in this little room. And it basically is like subtly telling you the philosophy of the game, or philosophy of like what they're trying to like comment on in the game, and and using knowledge and gaining knowledge and all this stuff. And there's really funny, like really intriguing, cool stuff that you get to unlock if you can get through all that. I think I did look those up because they got like extremely ungodly hard. Yeah. And there's also, and I got to hear an interview with the developer, Jonathan Blow, about this. There is something, and I tried it, and I don't think I even did it. I can't remember if I did it or not, but it's like the last extra puzzle. And it's so ungodly hard. I forgot the name of it, they call it. But I tried so many times, and I was like, this is ungodly hard. There's a timer. You got to do this at this point and whatever. It's so hard. And they asked him, was like, this is a crazy thing, or I finally unlocked it. And he was like, yeah. He was like, there's some stuff when I was growing up. Like there was some games where sometimes I just didn't beat them. Like sometimes I just could not beat them. And that was okay. Like I went to the next game and I got my experience out of it. He's like, some people are just not going to do this. And I was like, yeah, I didn't, like, or I couldn't do it or whatever. And it's fun. Like they play with that, and it's really, I don't know, I really respected that game. I came from hating that game too. I think that's one of my favorite games of all time. But
my favorite story about that game is that you said I would never spend $60 on a puzzle game, on a line puzzle game. Yeah,
that's one of the games I went from 0 to 100 on. So
yeah. So
that's interesting. I thought you'd like it more, but it sounds like you are having fun at points.
Well, I am really enjoying it in spurts, and then I'm feeling better about it. I'm probably sounding more negative than I actually am. I'm just bummed. Like, to me, the pinnacle of puzzle games right now is the Talos Principle. That was like a 30-hour game, and it built every single mechanic built on the next one, and I never had to look a single thing up. And that game got ungodly complicated at points, but I always felt like I had the tools to succeed. Different game, trying to achieve different things, but that's the standard to me. And so there's parts I like about this better, but it falls short of that. So it's a pretty high bar to ask a game to clear, though. So
I've been playing Returnal. We were talking about roguelikes, and I mentioned earlier I got this game for $20. Weird to find a PS5 game at a freaking yard sale, but played Returnal, and I dug it. I beat the first boss the first try, and I loved this game. It's like a what's it called? A shoot 'em up. So you have all this stuff flying to you, and I found out like the developers, one of their first games or whatever was a shoot 'em up. So I think they were like, let's just make it a shoot 'em up but third person. So I really like this game. Plays like a dream. It's awesome. And I went to the second boss. Okay, died. Got to go back. Do this or whatever else. And at one point, I did look up. I was like, "Is there shortcuts?" Because that's a huge thing to me. Is how do I get back once I die? And that's a huge thing to me. Is like at least Dark Souls. And I think that's how I was able to get through the Dark Souls games. Was that there was. Shortcuts. There was a way to get from through to this area, or whatever, and some are farther away than others. But at least I knew if I unlocked this, I could get to that, and then whatever, and I didn't have to do the whole game again. But this game wants you to do the 6 areas basically in one go, kind of like the Deathloop thing. They want you to go all in one go. There's shortcuts and whatever else.
This has a checkpoint halfway through. Once you do the first 3, you can get through the second 3.
Yeah, there's shortcuts that open up, and then you can like jump over to the whatever.
No, I'm saying you get to after you do the first 3 biomes. I was always told you do the second 3 biomes as their own arc of 3.
You don't start there. You gotta go back through. There's shortcuts that will jump you to the third one, but you have to like go up a little bit on the first one and go up. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So that's what I was learning. I looked up a guide of like, is this like good or whatever? Is this whatever? And I got to the point where it's weird. This game incentivizes you to kind of, whereas other roguelikes, you're starting to run, you start all the way over, you're getting different abilities, you're getting the different abilities, and there's your run. Like here's your buffs that you get, whatever else. And then, you died, you have to start all over. I don't like that, so I would just run, but the game kind of incentivizes that. Like if you do the shortcut, so I would shortcut to the second or third biome. I would go straight to the third biome or whatever, and right when you start, there would be a thing that would make like your buffs go up like to the max level, which made sense. Like you grab the weapon or whatever, and it's like, well, I don't want to do all that stuff. There was times when like to get to those shortcuts, I would have to like restart the run because the shortcut wasn't close to me. It was like farther away. But all that starting over and the monotony of doing that and hitting the same wall and gotta do the same balls. Now I have to run back through and skip through this and make sure I get, my luck is there to get the right weapons. I eventually just quit on this game, but I have heard there is ways to, like Deathloop and maybe like Hades 2, you can have permanent upgrades. And I was trying to decipher that. I didn't hear
the guns. So as you use the guns more, you unlock permanent perks on the guns.
Okay.
That's one thing, and they're pretty powerful, like 20% damage boost for all time.
Okay.
For that kind of stuff. So yeah, like that's one way. I don't know if there's additional ones, but the guns. That's why people really stressed if you see a gun that you haven't used before, grab it, because then it is one that can start leveling up. And then using certain guns, like there are certain guns that are better than others, using certain guns as often as you find them. Like you may find a gun that's a little lower level than the gun you have, but it might be a gun that's got really good perks as it gets higher, so it's worth.
So the more you use them, you're leveling that weapon up, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I might give this game another shot. I didn't hate the gameplay. It got monotonous, and I was like, I'm losing motivation as the more I play this. When I lose, like,
yeah, I get it.
I have a hard time, like, psychologically with these games. I don't know.
I get it. That game was hard for me because I probably had 14 attempts before I beat the first boss, and I was looking it up and people were like, I did it on my 4th try, and I was like, I am really something about that game specifically. I found it really hard to not take a lot of damage. And that's what I'm learning. What's flipped for me with Hades was I learned I gotta not take damage. Taking damage, losing health is the single worst thing you can do to yourself in these types of games, because it really drastically affects your ability to survive to the end. Because you can't just heal whenever you want. You got to heal only at certain times. So that game was hard, but I think I'm going to jump back into it.
I was seeing some people say, too, there's some things where you can collect this resin that's like it's like a collectible kind of thing. And you can use that to make these other chests. You go up to these chests, and basically they could like really hurt you, or they can give you, it'll open and it'll be no problem. It's like a 50-50 chance. Well, I was reading people online were like, hey, ignore all that stuff and always do it. Always open up the chest no matter what. And I at first was kind of cautious, but then it turned into like Dark Souls, whereas like Dark Souls kind of rewards you for going all out and like using two-hand or whatever else. Yeah. So maybe that's stuff where it's like, maybe I need to go back and try my play again. That's
a staple of this genre, and I didn't know it. And I read that on the corrupted things in Returnal, and I took that back to Hades. In Hades, there's chaos gates, and they like inflict some kind of a negative thing on you for so many rooms. But after that, it's like you get plus 20% gold for the rest of the run, or you automatically recharge your health to 30% after every room. And that stuff changes your game. It changes your run, because it's almost like investing. I like roguelikes a little bit more now because it's almost like investing. It's like, what are the things I can do now that will snowball to when I get to the final boss, it'll be an ungodly advantage. It'll be a crazy advantage. And when you think of it that way, they're more fun. And that goes back to gaining more knowledge, which was something that, I think these games focus on. But you always will take risk and reward, like risk reward opportunities in those games. Take them every time, because for every one run it blows up, 4 of them will go so much further.
Can I tell you about another game I quit? But I will end on a good note. I don't want to be too down on back to back. I quit Persona 5.
Okay. You don't love anime.
I think that's the truth. No. I have dumped 40 hours into Persona 5. And I was with, if you've seen him on the Hangouts, Pierce is a huge Persona 5 fan. And I was talking to him about this. I was like, oh yeah, I've loved that. I'm here at this part. I would tell him where I was at in the game, and he would go, oh, you're not even halfway. And I was like, I've put 30 out, like at that time, 35. So over Christmas break, I was like, let's go back into this. Let's get really far, blah, blah, whatever into it. And I looked up on like IGN, like, where am I at now? Like, I just did this. Like, I got to be far. And I'm still like just getting to the halfway point at 40 hours. Like, and I honestly, actually, I think it was right before that. I probably have another 60, like I had 60 something plus hours to go. So I wasn't even that far. I felt like I'd lived a lifetime inside of this game. I really felt like I lived an entire lifetime. I felt like I got everything, like whatever. So I played a little bit of this like one dungeon that I was on, and I said, I can't do it. Because the game, here's what the game will do. This is happening. This is happening to the Phantom Thieves. Is this happening? I think it's happening. Maybe this is happening. Do a little fight, do a little about it, whatever. Guess what? This is happening. The thing we talked about. They spread out. It's like filler episodes of a video game is what the show does, but I don't know if it's Japanese culture with anime and all this other stuff, but they really like stretched out thin the thing that they're trying to say. Instead of just leaving subtlety or whatever else, they explain 50 times what they're talking about, and it is drawn out. I could not take another second of it. So I was like, I got to make a choice. Do I want to spend another 65 hours, or do I want to look up on YouTube the 3 things probably that happens after this? So I quit, and I looked up on YouTube, and I looked up the 4 major events that happened after this, and I watched the whole thing. And this game, presentation-wise, nothing touches it. Like the menus and the interface pops up and the numbers pop up after you do a battle. Beautiful. Nothing has touched it since it came out. The music is incredible. It's a 10 out of 10. I was going on YouTube after I quit it and said, I'm going to listen to the soundtrack. That was really fun. And I would listen to the soundtrack. The soundtrack is incredible. It's 10 out of 10. The characters and stuff, it's fun interacting with them, but it wears out its welcome, and I will not play another one of these freaking Persona games unless the max hours is like 50-ish to 60. It did not need to be a 100 to 110 hour game for the main story. That's just for the main thing. Yeah. And the Royale version is like 10 hours-ish longer, I kept hearing and seeing and stuff. So Make a shorter game. I don't know. Like, I don't think it needed to be 110 hours. Like, I think in 60 hours, I still could have loved all those characters and got in and out. I know that it's going through like a whole year, and you're going through spring and summer, and you're going through a school year, and you're doing all this stuff, and I get that, but I couldn't take another second of it. I was like, let's wrap it up, guys. Like, I don't know. I had no patience for that anymore, so I don't know.
I mean,
So actually, Travis, I kept saying that this game is cool, whatever. I actually don't recommend this game anymore. If you're having trouble getting through 3 seasons of freaking Leftovers, to get through 120 hours of Persona 5, I'm like slamming my head against the desk.
A TV show is very different for me than a game, because if a game catches me, I'll grind through 100 hours of a game.
I guess so, but I don't know.
But
I'll give you $100 if you beat this game. I don't know.
This is one I own. I don't know when I'll get to it, but I will say I have the regular 5 and the Royal.
Yeah.
Like, part of me is like, maybe I should just play the regular one.
Yeah, maybe so. So it gets save some hours.
A little bit shorter. I don't know. I got Shin Megami Tensei 5, which I'm gonna finish before I ever get to Persona 5. So
I quit that, but I do want to end on a good hey. I've crapped on 2 games. Let's stop the crapping. We like video games here. I don't know if you guys heard about it, the DweeBros podcast. Final Fantasy X, 20th anniversary. Started streaming it. I played on my own. Started streaming here and there. I want to talk about a really funny moment I had. So you can activate cheats on this. So that's what I did, because I've beaten this game 3 times on my own. Like when I was a kid, I played the remaster and did that. So for a stream, I just wanted to talk about it and just do it on easy mode, which is basically what you can do is you can activate these cheats at any time to speed up the battles. 1, awesome. I don't want to play a turn-based RPG unless I'm doing that. Number 2, you can turn all these cheats on to like it'll replenish your health after your turn. It'll replenish your magic after the turn. It'll give you like your overbreak limits, or you beat it, Jacob. So
I know what you're talking about.
It'll give you the limit breaks, all this stuff. Yesterday, I was like, I'm gonna beat this game, and shouts out AOI joined in on this to watch me go till very late because I had to wake up early this morning. But I was playing this game, and at the very end, I have all these cheats. I've got all the cheats enabled. And I got to the final, and I was like, I remember I had time with this on the remaster, because you can get all these side quests, and that's what I did when I was a kid. Got all this extra stuff. I beat the boss in like 2 hits. Because I didn't do all of that, I have all these cheats, so I'm like, I'm good. I die. I gotta go back. But you can't just jump back into the battle and go back into the boss. This game has unskippable cutscenes. You cannot skip the cutscenes. You can skip the CGI cutscenes, but the cutscenes that are with the characters in the game or whatever, like in-game cutscenes, are unskippable. So you have to sit through the entire 10-minute cutscene again. So I would die, and my punishment would be we'd have to sit there on stream, and I would be just looking on the guide how to beat it and what other people were saying while this cutscene played again. That kept happening until like I hit my limit. I tried one more time, and I still didn't beat it, and I had to like call it. So I did not beat. I got to the final boss. I like beat all these bosses with the cheats. I don't know what was going on. The cheats, I was still getting killed. So
you couldn't beat it with cheats on?
I had cheats, and I was still losing. And AOI,
dude, come on, man.
He was cracking me up because I was losing my mind, and he kept saying, "All good things come in threes." Like, because I would lose 2 times, like, all good things come in threes. So. I did lose multiple times of 3s. I don't know what was going on, but I love that game. I did mention during the stream that I was wanting to do a video. Like, I have video plans to like talk about Final Fantasy X, because going back through again, even older than when I played the remaster. This game is one of my favorites of all time. The lore,
10's great.
The world. They just have a religion. There's a own language they made on this. Like, I eat that stuff up when it all connects, and it's very cool. And then even beating the end again with those insights now of like older and whatever else is like, oh yeah, stuff they talked about in the first like part of this game or showed like is coming out and like very important at the end. I was like, oh, forgot about some of this stuff. But
10 hits all the right notes, and the playable characters that you get to play with. Not a single one of them I like hate having on my team.
Yeah, they're all unique.
Yeah,
like, I think we were even looking at the when I was in the final boss stuff, and they showed the whole cast. They showed all the characters and stuff there, and I was like, everyone looks unique. Everyone looks really cool. Like,
yep,
great character design. Like, awesome. So
well, I know some of those games, like you get that one character and you're like, I'm never going to use you. Where I feel like 10, it's like, do I want to use?
Well, I did say on the stream I never played as Kamari or Riku. Everyone else had a thing, I think, that because Kamari kind of does the other sphere grid of everybody else. He can kind of do whatever anybody else does. Like he's kind of.
I like Riku. Why don't you like Riku?
I don't know. Just you got to mix stuff. Got to mix.
Oh my gosh! All right on. Makes sense.
Whatever. But that's all I played. But
okay. Well, Travis, I got a few more left on my list. You want to blow through yours? You want me to blow through mine?
I'll blow through mine.
It's blowing.
Gonna start blowing. Playing Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. I got that for Christmas. I've wanted to play this game since I heard it was unbelievably hard, and I've been getting more into platformers. Really good game. It looks great on the OLED. I like the way the environment is designed in that game. I like how it almost does a similar thing to what Metroid Dread does, of not so much with when you're fighting, but it's 2D, but it will go like 3D or 2.5D when it like shoots you out of cannons, and there's a lot of cool stuff, interactables with the environment. It's kind of like playing a Mario game. It makes you smile. It's something cool every level. The soundtrack's been fun. I always joke with my wife because she loves Crash Bandicoot, and I was showing it to her. I was like, I mean, this is like Crash Bandicoot and Donkey Kong Country are really kind of similar in a lot of ways. You go like island to island, and you I think these are better. I think for me, I mean, everybody likes different stuff. I'm nostalgic for Crash a little bit for playing with my wife, but at the same time, I think these games are a little bit tighter. Very hard. I've done 3 of the islands, and there's 6, so I'm halfway through it, I think. And I've only been playing it maybe 3-4 hours, so it's a shorter game. But I mean, I say very hard, like it's not like ridiculously hard. You just have to learn the boss's moves, and the boss fights were a little tricky.
It's my perfect level of hard, because when you die, you're at the freaking boss, and you'll die 8 trillion times on the boss, but I don't have to go through the whole level again, or there's a mid checkpoint to the level, so you have to die 8 trillion times to get the mid checkpoint. It feels the perfect level of hard difficulty. Like, it's extremely hard, but it's like, it's fair. I think it's extremely fair.
Yeah, I die a lot, but I get a lot of bananas, so I've never bottomed out on balloons or anything. If I was a kid, like, it might be too hard. Like, I could see kids struggling with this game, or people that
It's not for you.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because they kind of patronize you. You can play Cool Kong, and he's got like glasses and like long blonde hair, and he doesn't take damage. It's like the chicken hat from Metal Gear Solid. If like you cannot beat the game, you can do it that way. You still die from falling in pits, I think. But I will say I don't think it's like perfectly designed, and I'll say there's a shop that sells stuff.
Yeah.
I don't buy any of it. I don't like I bought some of the little collectibles, but like one time I was under 10 balloons, so I was like, I'll buy some balloons. But like he sells power-ups like, hey, make your hearts higher. Hey, you know, but to me, like one run of something, maybe I need to mess with it some more. It's not
I think that's almost more how you want to play it, because I bought the collectibles and some of the balloons when I was low or whatever.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to do that extra heart stuff, and it's how you want to play the game. If you want to just like, I really think it's fun to play at this game, then play it on that difficulty by not buying that extra stuff.
Gotcha.
Like, I think it's more choice stuff. Like,
yeah, I guess what I don't know is,
or if you're really stuck on a level or stuck on something, you could really like power up right there. So.
Yeah, I guess maybe I need to buy it because I guess I'm a little ignorant. I don't know exactly how they work, but like one of them is like the green balloon, and the green balloon is if you fall to your death, you use it and you come out of the pit. Well, to me, like I don't even want to buy one of those because it's going to get used immediately on something probably dumb that I could just redo anyway. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like I just don't.
And some of that, I don't know.
I don't really know what the point is.
I think,
but it doesn't matter.
I bet another reason is I didn't 100% that game. There's like collectibles in each level, and I bet those come in handy when you're like, oh god, I have to like do 8,000 jumps and I always fall in the hole at that one part. I bet that would come in handy, but I never did it either. That
makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it's a good game. I will say I will not be 100%ing this game.
Yeah, I mean, I did not.
I may leave it installed and, you know, try to go get the rest of the Kongs, like K-O-N-G, you get the letters. It might be worth doing some of those, but
I felt it was hard enough. I felt like I had enough fun.
Yeah, good game. Enjoying that. 2 other games quickly. I've been playing multiplayer wise with our buddies. I've been playing Deep Rock Galactic. Just a really cool, unique game. It's a first person, and you play a bunch of space dwarves. And so like you've got like this like spaceship. I think it's a spaceship. Maybe it's just like a mining ship, but basically you go on these mining expeditions with each other. And so sometimes there's like a super important crystal you need to get. Sometimes like you need to go rebuild an oil refinery and rebuild these pipelines. So that's actually a great example. Like there's different classes like support and scout and different things, but you're basically these little dwarves running around in these caves, and there are these waves of these bugs that come out. And so you're basically using your abilities to meet the objective while you fight off the waves when they appear. But it's very fun. Like the one of the modes was there's like this oil plant, and then there are all these broken pipes. And basically you have to go find these gas, like these holes that have gas flying out of them, and put a seal on it. And then you have to build a pipeline from the thing to here. And so you like make a piece, but it's almost like Roller Coaster Tycoon of like, okay, there's 3 of us, me and Alex and Kenny. You make that pipe, I'll make this pipe, and then make that one. So you're like doing the frame of it, but the pipeline can only go so far. So you have to like dig into the ground, and like and there's bugs coming, and you're shooting, and then you're building. And then when we built all the pipes, we were putting all the metal down on them to like make them like not just a frame but a finished pipe, and the bugs come out and start attacking us. And you could actually like you jump on the pipes and you grind on the pipes to and from like the oil refinery to like fight off the bugs that are attacking the pipeline. And it was just like it was cool. Like you're grinding and you're shooting and you're jumping off, and then you're grinding back up to the top.
Shooter?
It's first person.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's crossplay. It's on it's on PS Plus right now. It's about to go away though. Okay. Yeah, definitely grab it because it's 4-player. We were playing with 3 people. We were having fun. It's just a fun, casual multiplayer. It's not grindy. It's not like, oh, you got to play for 2 hours to build up your super powerful abilities, and then if you die, you lose everything. It's just like you go out for 20 minutes and do a mission, and you go back and you put special hair on your dwarf, and you do more missions if you want to. So cool game. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I was playing some other multiplayer games with those guys, but nothing really I feel passionate about talking about right now. So.
All right, well, I have been dipping my toe more into the metaverse. What is
Zuckerberg.
What's going to be 2022's buzzword for the next year, and probably going into 2023 is going to be the idea of metaverse and what it.
I'm going to live my whole life in the metaverse, I think, this year.
You just did with Persona.
Yeah, pretty much. No, with that being said, I've been playing a lot more VR. A lot of my friends around me have been getting into VRs. Oculus Quest, they've been grabbing them.
The way you said that, a lot of my friends around me have been getting into VRs. It made it sound like they're getting into these machines that are not coming out.
For the longest time, I have been... And I would say, I'm going to say this honestly, in my friend group, I am the VR pioneer. I champion VR. I talk about VR. It is and to my opinion, it is still the best way to play a video game. You will not convince me otherwise.
Before I forget, I have a VR story. Go ahead. Watched this video. I watched it several times. It was cracking me up. But some kid, just for a TikTok video, went into Target and he stood in the middle of the aisle with the Oculus Quest on, and so he's in the middle of the aisle, and a dad with like a kid in the cart comes up and he goes, "Hey, what does he say? Like, you're in the way, chief," or something, or "Get out of the way, chief." It just says something like, "You need to move, dude," kind of in a rude way. But as he gets past him, the kid goes, "You're in my play space." And the guy turns around and hits the VR, the $300 VR set off of his head. But the funniest reaction is the Target employees or people standing around go, "Hey, hey, hey." And they were like, "Hey, he's right. You need to get out of the way, but he's also not." Like, it was just 2 wrongs. Like, it was like, you need to get out of here, but why the frick did he do that? Like, what was the reaction? Yeah. Like, you're both idiots. Like,
yeah. He's not ready for the metaverse.
Yeah, not ready for the metaverse at all. He was in his play space. But
I actually saw a Walmart preparing for the metaverse. They're testing virtual shopping.
I saw that. That's cool.
And the plan is it's going to be coming out in some areas. They're testing because they're doing delivery paired with them. So basically, you get a shopping cart. You go throughout Walmart virtually, put what you want in the shopping cart into the shopping cart, and then they deliver it to you.
But here's the thing. I get the concept stuff is like, oh, we can do this now. But I get my groceries delivered. Like, and I do all that stuff, and I just add it to my cart, and it's so simple, and I just know what I want, and then I order. But this is making me physically walk. I'm actually going back to what I hated, which is walking through these giant stores to find like the five things I want.
If anything, it intrigued me because like I've done both, and this I know we're tangenting, but I've done both. I haven't done the metaverse one, but I've watched the videos, and I've done the online clicking one because we all went through COVID. And so the online click one, I think I'm limited in my brain works of like getting the things that I want because that's all I can think of. Whereas when I walk through a store, I get inspired because I see different things. I don't think about tilapia until I pass tilapia. And I'm like, you know what? I could do something with that fish. And what could I do with that fish?
Okay.
You know, so that's where that's how my brain works. That's how so I think there's different.
So you're ready to go to the Walmart metaverse, is what you're saying.
Yeah, 100%. I want to try. I want to be on that.
I wonder if somebody would be in pajamas there in a fight. Like, that'd be cool, like in the metaverse. Like, they take everything aspect of Walmart.
The other benefit, I guess, is when you do the shopping like automated where they do it for you, sometimes they sub things that would like are not ideal, or they don't. They like, we didn't have this. It's like, well, I would have did this instead. Like, yeah. But I also physically don't want to virtually walk through a store when I currently just click a bunch of boxes and like select the things I want. But you know, it makes me wonder what other things you can experience in VR. Dude, when are we gonna get?
What about the BMV? Like, you'll have to sit there in a queue, and you have to sit down next to people.
There's a car dealership. Carvana's working on launching their metaverse one because they're already a complete virtual dealership, and they want to go into the metaverse and launch a car dealership there. And then Life Church just launched their first metaverse church.
Oh, wow.
And they host a service in the metaverse.
Who's Life Church?
It's Craig Rochelle's church. You know who Craig Rochelle is?
Yeah.
Yeah. That dude. He's the dude that created the Bible app, the most used iOS Bible
created
app.
The Bible?
The Bible.
Yeah,
dude, that's the guy that did it?
Yeah. People are here's the thing, it's the buzzword. Would
you pay tithes like it comes around and you can flick it with
Dude, I watched a video of it and I was like, this isn't for me. Like,
really?
This isn't for me. Yeah, I don't know. Everyone's got their, where some people would be like, I would go to that. I'd rather be in a virtual grocery store. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's got their different things. But I have been playing more VR lately just because, again, more people around me have been getting it. And one of the games I finally get to experience to its full capacity is Population 1, which is a battle royale VR mode that is completely locomotive and has flying. You fly, which is really awesome. So if you don't got your VR legs, this game is not for you. And you build like Fortnite.
Oh, so you can build.
It is an absolute joy of a game. And you can only play in trios. I don't know why every game has to do this trio thing. So one of my friends got a VR and we were playing for a while. And we met we met a guy from New York. We met a guy from San Diego. We met a kid from Texas. We just played through and we meet these guys and we talk to them like, well, hey, how's life going? All right, let's go get a dub, and we play through it. Great stinking game. And it's immersive as all get out. It really just, it's nothing like when you hear gunshots behind you, it's just nothing like it when like you have to interact with that. You have to deal with that.
Yeah.
I like VR games, and Population 1 hits that because I'm a shooter nut and I like shooters. And on top of that, Golf Plus has hit Quest 2 exclusively. And it is a all-inclusive golf simulator. It took all the programs that we know in those golf simulators and those bars and everything and has plugged it into a VR world. And you can play 18 rounds of golf at some of the world's famous golfing courses in the world, like Masters and different things like that. And it's simulated like normal golf. So we went around and we played at Valhalla. Me and my friend Brady, we played a round of 18, and I sliced every drive, because in real life I slice every drive. And I was looking up online because of the way I was approaching it with my club. And I was like, man, this game is that accurate. Because in real life, I do slice all my drives, and I hit my chips perfectly. So it's cool because I get to play golf now at some of the most famous courses that I would never be able to play at, that I get to play now in VR headset. And it looks great. It's cool. It's a good thing.
People make fun of the metaverse, but this sounds awesome. You're doing this all from your living room.
You know what was also awesome about that is that they introduced multitasking. So I was listening to music while talking to my friend while playing golf, all in the VR headset.
That is awesome.
So it's just like, I think
they just locked in. They changed the name to Meta, right?
It's MetaQuest. It's now known as. It's now, when you get your new headset in 2023, when they release the third one, it's going to be the MetaQuest 3 or the MetaQuest.
Okay.
I just think man, I think Oculus is hitting its stride in terms of VR and what it can do.
I think that one and PSVR are the most mainstream, top things I keep seeing people talk about or whatever else.
Yeah, Steam's is definitely it's expensive, but at this point you're paying for the name. HTC is pretty much almost out of it, and HP is your off-brand cousin's grandma bought you a headset. So, if you had to get a headset at this point, and we're going to talk about it here in a second, but it's either PSVR or it's going to be,
the
Oculus.
PC, you're going to get the crazy. I mean, you're playing Yu-Gi-Oh, these unlicensed, very illegal, copyright stuff. Awesome experiences,
Travis, they're almost done with the Magic the Gathering one.
Oh, really?
They're really close. They're entering early alpha. If you have a Patreon account, you can get access to it. But
I don't even know what that looks like. I know Yu-Gi-Oh is an anime, so
imagine it's something else.
And Magic.
Dude,
that Yu-Gi-Oh one was hilarious.
I promise you, it's still one of the best experiences I ever experienced.
Really fun.
With all that being said, there is some news that came out, but I've been playing Warzone again. I took a break from it for a while. And I've been playing since they implemented a new kernel level anti-cheat. So if you guys ever played Call of Duty,
something that was a major issue. People were getting mad because all these cheaters are coming in, right?
A lot of hackers have been in Call of Duty. They've been in Call of Duty for a long time, and Call of Duty is never.
I played Call of Duty 1. There was always an anti-cheat thing they had to put in, and.
Yeah, and so for the longest time, since the newest one in 2019 came out, there's not been an anti-cheat. And they introduced it's only on PC. So when you download the update, a kernel gets installed along the data and they say it's a self-evolving anti-cheat where it reads tendencies or whatever you want to call it. I don't even know what that means. Anyways, let me just give you the load of baloney whatever they sold it in. What are you laughing at?
Every time you said kernel until this last time, I don't know why I thought it was like a general, like a colonel, that was in the game.
No.
That was telling people not to cheat.
No,
why?
They put the kernel.
I thought it was
army.
I thought it was a colonel that was stopping you.
The colonel, the anti-cheat
do this.
Don't do this.
No, oh my gosh, that's funny. I don't know.
Really
I don't know what the word kernel means. And the way they described it was it just installs something in your computer and it checks your back-end processors.
It's like a package.
It's like the core thing.
I don't know why when you said kernel, I thought you meant
a war
in
game.
the army.
That is so funny.
It's like they added a kernel that stops it. I don't know why my brain. I'm just tired.
You're never beating the witness is all I gotta say.
No. So I wanted to tell you guys a story that's been really upsetting. So Warzone, while the anti-cheat kicked in, there was a time when there was less cheaters because they sent out a large ban wave. And on top of that, you can no longer create a Warzone account unless you have a phone number tied into it. So they were stopping because people were creating 100 accounts and then selling them as a package for $20. That's the crap that was happening. So all these hackers could have 100 accounts and just rage through them all.
Mike.
Yeah, it's just nonstop, So
better start changing your ways, cheaters.
Here's what happened. Now, I have been banned, and let me tell you why I got banned.
Oh shoot!
He didn't
listen to the colonel.
No, listen. I got very mad. I logged in one day. Me and my friends logged in. Normal day. And I sit at a 1.97 KD in Warzone, which is a high KD. That's a high KD, it is. But I I've played a lot of Warzone. I'm really good at Call of Duty. I've played Call of Duty with Zach and I've played with Travis. We've played Cold War. There is one game I will talk mass crap about, and it's Call of Duty. You can talk crap about any other game, and I'll sit there and take it. Call of Duty, I believe I'm one of the best. Not in the world, but among the people I know. So I log in, and we can't get into a game.
The Colonel has your eyes on you.
It keeps kicking up to 300 milliseconds for ping. And I was like, why is it doing this? I start Googling and it says, well, it looks like one of your people in your party's shadow banned. Because they do a thing called shadow ban before they do a hardware ban. And I was like, okay. I was like, guys, everybody, let's go solo queue into a game and see who it is. They get in, I don't. So I log into Activision's account because apparently they have a ban appeal thing. And they said my account was under review because of suspicious reports. So what happened was they do a manual reporting along with the new anti-cheat. And apparently people have reported me enough to force a shadow ban that lasts anywhere from 7 to 14 days while they review my account.
I like that can happen.
Well, that sucks because if I'm just telling you right now, I report people all the time if they kill me because I'm just mad they killed me. So I appeal my ban.
So it looks like I came back to get you.
I appeal my ban and I win. My account becomes cleared. I play a game.
OJ getting off here.
Yeah, I play a couple games. I log in for the night. I log on again, and I'm shadow banned again.
Uh-oh.
I checked my account. There's no way for me to appeal. They say there's no issue with my account, so I had to start clean with a whole new account.
Oh no.
Lost everything. Lost all my guns. Lost all the purchases I made for Activision. Lost it all because I cannot access my account, and I can't put an appeal in either to re-get it. So I'm restarting. Well, I hit the peak screw Activision button. And I was like, you know what? If you're going to ban me for not cheating, I'm going to go ahead and work around your system. So I reached out to one of those fancy Discord people that you find through those sketchy websites.
Oh, he became the villain. You made him a villain.
I did not cheat in Warzone, but this guy put me in a cracked lobby and gave me level 1000 and gave me unlock everything.
Okay.
So he just said, hey, here's 20. I gave him $20. He put me in this lobby. He said, just keep moving around. And then about an hour later, I had everything in the game. And then I'm good. I'm good now.
I've learned that they accused you of cheating, which you didn't do. So you said, I'm going to go cheat now.
No,
this is what happens.
You broke bad, dude.
This is what happens with like prison, where like people get put in prison to do anything wrong, and then they have to basically become a criminal because they have no other options.
But that's
Warzone's kind of like prison.
I asked my friend, I was like, is this wrong of me? Because you want to know what happened? Cheaters have gotten bad now because they've worked around the anti-cheat. They can fly cars now. You see cars just flying through the sky, hitting people. And it's like, this is your game right now, Activision. This is what people are playing. They
turned you into the Joker, dude.
I've spent money on you, and you're not going to let me play on my account. Like, screw you. I want to flip the camera off. I'm never going to do that. But, like, that's how mad I am. Like, I'm giving you money, and you're going to punish me. So, you know what? I'll give some rando who can hack your bull crap and give me everything, $20.
Wait, does that get you all the paid skins?
All the camos, all the stuff, all the guns.
The stuff that costs money?
All of it.
How? How does he have access server side to all the skins?
Activision, this is just a long joke.
Dude, it's so broken. So Activision is a complete mess, and if you guys don't know, well, I think everyone here knows. So luckily,
what's your future with Warzone?
I'm still playing. I'm playing on a new account.
You're playing on the God mode account.
I texted one of my teenagers who I knew would never play Call of Duty. Said, "Hey, I'm gonna send a code to your number. Tell me what the code is so I can create an account." And the guy used the code and created a new account. Screw them. It is what it is. Microsoft purchased them for $6.87 billion.
Yes.
Hopefully, that fixed that company a little bit, guys.
Let's get into it. I think the biggest story, of course, of this month, I think of maybe ever.
The biggest story of maybe ever.
of the video game industry, this has to be like...
The
more I thought about it, this is humongous. Like Bethesda,
giant
to
deal.
the point, was the biggest purchase from Microsoft, but this Activision Blizzard deal was crazy because Activision and Blizzard were already sucking up a bunch of companies.
Yeah.
Whereas Bethesda had a couple, or they had a bunch of ones they were kind of wrapped in, but nothing like Activision Blizzard. Like, there is like, people were even showing like, hey, they own Crash Bandicoot now and Spyro because they had owned Toys for Bob and Toys for all the stuff. And
Activision had a ton of companies underneath their wings.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Dude, they own Tony Hawk, not the game, the man. Like,
pretty much.
Yeah, he has a Microsoft shirt on at all times now.
I think the thing it's interesting is that CEO of Activision, I can't pronounce this, Kotick or what,
something Bill Kotick or something.
It's something Bobby Kotick or something. You know, he got in the hot water because of all the sexual, harassment, discrimination that started coming in. And did you guys know Microsoft sent him an offer in the middle of all the chaos? Like, so Microsoft sent him an offer, and he sat there and said, "I'm not taking this. No." And
he didn't want to sell to Microsoft.
Yeah, but then their stock plummeted.
Yeah, then they saw how bad it was going, I guess. And
well, I guess he reached out. So the story was that he reached out and said, "Send me a better offer." They did, and he took it. He was like,
well, and he also, I don't know if you saw this, he was also backdoor trying to work with Meta. He was trying to see if Meta would buy them instead. He did not want to go to Microsoft because he knew that Microsoft probably wouldn't keep him. He was trying to go to Meta, which, if you talk about who could have bought Activision Blizzard, I'm glad it's not Zuckerberg of all freaking people.
That would have been.
But who? Yeah, I guess it would be Facebook would be the other player, because I don't even think could Sony afford a six.
No.
Like
Sony, Microsoft didn't buy them with Xbox money. They bought them with Windows money.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's no way.
Sony isn't on Microsoft's level in terms of anything. Just they're better at making games, and they've been in that space longer.
Yeah,
that's it. As a company, Sony is like an ant compared to Microsoft. Yeah. Microsoft's competition really moving forward are Google, not because of just Stadia, but just in general. Google is a giant tech player, and Meta, and Amazon.
Yeah,
that's the four. Those are the four. And so, like, somebody asked me, Greg,
they're all really good with big pockets. Who has the bigger pockets?
Yeah.
That's what their skill set is.
Yeah,
is who's richer.
So Greg texted me and asked me, he said, "What do you think about this move?" Because all these moves up until now have been like, it's cool for Microsoft, and then they bought Bethesda, and I was like, I don't know that I 100% love it, but these franchises do fit with their mold of what they make. And like, I remember when I was a kid, Oblivion was Xbox exclusive for a long time. Like, so it was like made sense. This is like a different level. Like, Blizzard is owned by Microsoft, right? That's a different thing because that's like PC only, basically.
We're talking like Overwatch.
Yeah. But what I told Greg is there's two sides of my brain for this. From a development level, that's all anybody's talking about, right? I feel like right now is a development level. Yes, now all of these developers are owned by Microsoft. I think that's like fine, because like they're going to let them continue to make the games. They're going to let Blizzard still make the games they want to make. They're going to let Activision still make the Call of Duties they want to make. I don't anticipate that Xbox is going to get super in their space. Like, they're going to have things that they want them to be coming up to a certain level on, I would assume, like not sexually harassing their employees and stuff. But like, I feel like they're still going to let Activision run the way they are. But to me, the more interesting question is publishing. I don't know that it's great for the games industry to lose a third-party publisher the size of Activision.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that,
I've been thinking about this week is like, this was major, and it's like, this changes everything. I felt this one really tipped the scale of like,
because the reason I say that is like, publishing serves a very different role than development. Developers make games. Publishers curate a portfolio of games, and they establish that portfolio, and they build it, and they make deals with all the different console makers to put things on certain platforms. And so Activision, I'm really curious, what is Microsoft going to do? They've left ZeniMax, the Bethesda publishing side of things. They've left them intact, but like, if we get to a space where all of these teams just become development teams, but the publishing all goes through Microsoft, I don't think that's good. If Activision can still be their own publisher and be out there and build their own brand and stuff, that's probably better. But when you start to lose big publishers like this, I mean, God, I'm worried if Google's going to go buy a Ubisoft. Well, I don't really care about Ubisoft, but if they went and bought a Ubisoft, and like if these third-party publishers go to platforms, you could very quickly find yourself in a place where, like, I know Xbox's values are they want things to be on consoles and on PC, and I even think they'll leave some of this stuff on PlayStation for the time being. But like if Google buys like Ubisoft, it don't matter what you say; those things are only going to be on Stadia. If Amazon buys let's say EA, those things are only going to be on Luna. Like, so to me, like now that we're in this space of publishers getting bought up, that is kind of, it's a little concerning because that is how the ecosystem of these things work.
I think what I'm paying attention to this because, like, obviously Call of Duty, it's one of those games I play a lot, and it directly affects Call of Duty's like future, because there are games that have been planned out, like Warzone 2, like the upgrade to Warzone, Modern Warfare 2 that's coming out this year. Yeah, this later in the year, plus the next Call of Duty exclusive title. Sony luckily has an exclusive deal with Activision that locks in games for the next, like, I think 2 to 3 years.
I think it was 2, 3.
So I'd be very surprised if Xbox pulled publishing rights from these companies. It would be a shocker. It'd be like one of those, like, you would force other tech giants to have to purchase companies.
Yeah. Let me make an example of why it worries me, right? So when Disney bought Star Wars and they bought Marvel Studios, they bought Star Wars in 2012 and they bought Marvel Studios in 2010, I think. Mm-hmm. So around 10, 12 years ago. So when they first bought them, they let them run. They let them do their own thing, not just development wise, not just directing and content, publishing. So a good, for instance, is for all the new Star Wars movies that came out, Kathleen Kennedy is the president of Lucasfilm. Nobody told Kathleen Kennedy if the new Star Wars idea was going to be a movie or a show. She decided that. No one told Kevin Feige at Marvel, this idea is going to be a movie or this idea is going to be a show. But now Disney, their new CEO, because Bob Iger is retiring, their new CEO is Bob Chapek. He has kind of become notorious for being a big idiot in a lot of different spheres. But specifically in this example, he has hired a content curation, basically, area of the company. And they're the publishing arm now of Disney. And so for Pixar, Marvel, and Star Wars now, those companies can decide what they want to make. But that central publishing arm of Disney decides how it goes. So there have been a lot of turf wars where Kevin Feige is working on a show that he wants to be a show. And that group has been pushing, saying, we're going to make this a movie. We think this would be better as a movie, and getting in the development process. And so to me, like, that is like right now, when Disney first bought those companies, they did their own publishing and their own development. But now, after they've owned them for so long, they're taking more direct meddling ownership. I'd be worried 10 years from now if Microsoft thinks we've owned Activision for 10 years. We don't really need that public. It's not going to be right now. It's what will it look like in 10 years? Because I think we live in a better world if the games that get made AAA wise have to pass through 5 or 6 or 7 desks instead of 2. Right. Mm-hmm. I don't want everything AAA to have to pass through Phil Spencer or Tencent. Mm-hmm. Like, but that's, if that's the reality we end up in, it'll be anything that gets made is what Microsoft or Google says gets made. That's kind of scary to me because these are some pretty big publishers, man.
This is where I think. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, the thing I'm going, like, well, the first thing I wanted to mention, what I thought was really funny, I retweeted it. Somebody said, some type of, what was it? Oh, some consideration. They, when the Activision Blizzard, all the sexual harassment stuff that was going up, the terrible stuff that was going on there, Microsoft said, they came out, the headline was like, Microsoft, we are reconsidering our relationship. And said some reconsideration with the relationship we bought them.
That was what I texted. We're so angry with you. We're going to marry you. Like, that was, that's what they said.
They don't care. They want the money. Like,
so I think, if anything, we know that the Activision CEO will be stepping down in about 17, 18 months.
He's out.
The deal closes.
I think they're giving him like 200.
Oh yeah, he's gonna be filthy rich. Like he's settling down good. Travis, I think if anything, it just continues to push that, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Meta, they're going to push to have a foothold in the video game industry because it's an all-in-one service that they can package and present. And that's where it's like people like Nintendo and Sony, you might have to sign on with somebody. That's
what's making me nervous because, okay, Phil Spencer put out a statement last week and he said, we support Sony. We will keep putting Call of Duty on PlayStation. I think Phil's end game is make a deal with us, Sony. You don't have to put your games on the Xbox, but let us put Game Pass on your box.
Yes.
And let's just get into a deal together. Because he said, he was like, okay, Luna or Amazon, Google. I'll tell you the one that really scares me is Tencent. Like they're aggressively like getting into any company that's publicly traded. They're buying up stock gaming wise and trying to take them over. Like Nintendo's a publicly traded company. Like, dude, I don't want to live in a world where Tencent does a hostile takeover over Nintendo, but like that could be a world we end up living in. So I get nervous for Sony and Nintendo because now that Activision level companies are being purchased, companies bigger than Sony are getting purchased. Like that's a scary thing for those companies. Like I don't want to see either of those companies get taken over. But it's kind of weird out there. So
that's right.
Yeah, I think they're just forcing hands at this point because 5 years from now, everything's gonna be streamable. They're gonna focus on streaming video games.
I will say, like you were saying, like the games that I like are still Sony and Nintendo. Like the Bethesda stuff was like, oh, okay, well, I skipped Doom Eternal. Like I liked the Doom 2016. They changed some stuff, but like, okay, Activision were like, well, there's a lot of stuff, but I still don't like. There's still not a ton that I like that. I like that Tony Hawk game, but there isn't like a major thing where it's like Sony kind of draws me. But at the same time, I was like, that's a lot. They're getting a lot of games, but like for me, it didn't like change anything, I guess.
I think this is bigger than just even a gaming standpoint. I think it's just tech footholds. And I think that's what we got to look at it from here. Because if I look at but let's just say, Travis, I'm going to play devil's advocate. By 2023, let's say Google decides to buy Ubisoft and then Amazon takes up EA.
Ubisoft.
So now Sony now loses EA games, which what's one of the best-selling games across the year every year? Madden.
And
FIFA. They lose that to Amazon.
Yeah.
Ubisoft, which isn't anything, but they're still a publisher, it's third party. They lose them, and then Microsoft, if they don't strike a deal with them, they lose all those other third parties.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's not good business.
If I'm Sony right now, not only am I concerned about Call of Duty, I'm concerned of exactly what you just said. Well, who's going to buy EA and take Madden away from us and FIFA away from us, which is 10% of our bottom line every year is the third party sales.
And it's going to happen. I'm telling you, I'm predicting it. In the next 2 years, EA will be purchased by one of these companies, and so will Ubisoft and all those little AAA people. They're going to get purchased.
Can I make one last thing on this, just as a note? A guy, I don't know his last name, is Kyle, it might be Vossman. He's from Easy Allies. I didn't watch him on there, but he's got a YouTube channel that I like watching sometimes called Delayed Input. He made a great point, which is all these acquisitions Xbox has done. Phil will write a little thing and he'll say head of Xbox. That's always his title. It's all about Xbox. This release he did on where he wrote that they were buying, it was Microsoft Games. And his title is CEO of Microsoft Games. They have very silently rebranded his entire division, not Xbox, but Microsoft Games. And that is, I think, telling of like Xbox is like, yeah, it's Xbox and PlayStation and Nintendo. Like, I think Microsoft is fully stepping back and saying the CEO is like signing off on $40-70 billion deals. I think that they're stepping back. They're saying we're not Xbox. We sell Xboxes.
Yeah.
We are Microsoft, and we own a lot of gaming.
I think
stuff,
it's the same way that PlayStation last gen, didn't they really make a big deal of the PlayStation Studios? Of their like Uncharted and all that stuff. They made it like, and they're a solid extreme lineup. God of War, Uncharted, all that stuff. So I think like with Microsoft, it's like, I think for the first time that I can remember, like we have a major good collection now because we bought everybody. Like,
all this stuff. Microsoft Game Studios is what the analog of what you're talking about. Microsoft Gaming is a new division of Microsoft.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, that's their now they have their own PlayStation Studio kind of thing.
Have you guys looked up though?
Never mind. I don't think it's making sense. What I'm saying is it's not Microsoft Game Studios. It's Microsoft Gaming, which owns ZeniMax and Activision and all these different things.
Yes.
Like they are like the way they're presenting their brand, they're leaving the Xbox name behind almost like completely.
Oh, you're to tie in with the stuff that you guys were talking about, like get on to PlayStation, get onto this.
Yeah. They're saying we're not fighting with PlayStation, Nintendo anymore. We're fighting with Amazon. We're fighting with Meta, kind of a thing.
Well, it's almost known now. It's known that they're pushing past. They're just trying to get more Windows platforming at this point. More Windows bolstered.
Man, PlayStation Plus, we got to see some crazy.
So here's what I was going to say.
Because they have PS Now, but it's not like they don't advertise it like game.
It's not worth it.
If I were them, I would sign a deal with Xbox, put Game Pass on the PlayStation, but anybody that signs up for Game Pass through the PlayStation, we get a cut. And save yourself the headache of making your own product.
Well, I was going to say...
I would do that today if I was Sony.
Here is the rumor that I want to put out there, and because I've been reading into it. Rumor is Sony is in the works of making a play on their own at one of these developers who are left, whether it be Take-Two or EA, because they don't want to lose that sporting rights. Because any company knows,
that's huge.
Like we just talked about, FIFA and Madden in itself, even though like Madden's like game that I can't stand, it sells. It's one of the best selling games every year. You know, Take-Two Interactive puts out NBA 2K.
Isn't EA already on Game Pass? Aren't they like linked up somehow?
But they don't have an exclusive deal.
I feel like they're in bed with each other. Maybe they haven't.
They are a little bit more. EA is a little bit more in bed with Microsoft. I could see Take-Two. I don't know. Does Sony have the money to buy Take-Two?
The last thing I saw was
think they have that kind of money.
Take-Two was at like an 18 million crap.
I think they got Square Enix money and they got Kojima Productions money.
They got Konami money. Like Sony can't buy publishers. They can buy developers.
Yeah.
I don't think they can buy. They could buy Capcom.
Yeah.
They could buy
Maybe they buy
Konami.
all these niche things and they create.
If I'm Sony, I would be going out buying Japanese.
I'd be knocking on Kojima's door and I'd say, "Get in the car. You're coming home."
Yeah,
you're coming home.
I'm just saying, Sony's at kind of like they're between a rock and a hard place, and they got to make a play now and not make a play later.
But it's funny that we keep talking about Sony, whereas we know Nintendo's going to be around for another 8 trillion years. Yeah, and they're just going to be doing wacky jacky stuff.
Yes.
Well. They're a toy company at heart. Like, I don't think that their future is streaming because they love making toys. They love making Switches.
Well, I will say they are making their own theme park, so I should step back on that because they are like trying to grow bigger too.
They have their brand.
Like
they have their brand, and they're going to stick to their brand. No one's going to buy Nintendo brand.
Yeah.
I think 20 years from now, I think Nintendo, even 30 years from now, there will be an appeal to what's the new Nintendo gadget.
Yes.
Even if it's a streaming gadget and it streams the games, like I think people will want that.
Yeah. I did want to say one funny joke. We changed our whole group chat that we were acquired by Microsoft as well. That's news. DweeBros they did seek us out. We only took $4 billion, but you know,
it's exciting to know that
valued at. But I did laugh very hard. I changed our group chat to have Phil Spencer's head as the face, and Kenny said, "Were we acquired by Microsoft?" And I changed that and I said, "Hey guys, got great news. We're acquired." And it said Kenny left the group chat, and that just killed me that he was immediately not a part of that.
He just didn't want the money. I'd sell my soul right now for $4 billion.
Oh yeah, I would do some.
Whose toes do I have to suck?
Yeah,
that'd be the question.
I would suck anybody's toes for $4 billion.
I'd be like, all right, bust them out. Like, let's talk about them. But we don't have to suck any toes because we're getting a PSVR 2.
Yeah.
A 2.
We can do that virtually now in the meta.
In the meta. Zach, you are a PSVR stan. Like, you love that.
I loved the PSVR 1. I think that the PC side has these crazy experiments you're never going to get on the PSVR. The PSVR is like the closest we've got to like AAA VR experiences. Like these crazy properties. You got Batman. You got these officially licensed things that a lot of people worked on and polished up and made them as smooth as possible and whatever. I loved all of these experiences. Deracine from FromSoft. You got the Astro Bot stuff, like all this stuff. Like I loved from the PSVR 1. Loved it. Did not like 8 billion cables, problems trying to stream. It was easier just to stream on Twitch from that thing. It was a nightmare to stream all that stuff. Using the PS3 controllers, PS3 era technology for the motion sucked. It was like this kind of cross-gen stuff. A lot of problems with the PSVR 2 that was like, I still loved the experiences and the games I got, but it was like, I cannot wait till they make a full, here's the controllers, we're gonna, whatever. And they talked and gave more details on the PSVR 2. And very exciting stuff. So the first one is something that's been talked about in the VR space for a while, and the PSVR 2 is the first one that's really made it available or said that they're going to include it, and that is the eye tracking. And why the eye tracking is very, like, I didn't even think about this, but people were talking about like getting excited about this, because if they implement it this way, the way that the eye tracking can work is that if you're looking at something, they don't need to render at full resolution the stuff to the side of your eyes. Like the stuff that your eyes are not looking at, right? Meaning they can make it a better resolution for the stuff you're looking at. Like that can help with the processing. If you're only looking here, we can like make this 720p basically and make this 1080p.
It kind of affects the field of view almost.
Yes.
Because you can make things more, because let's be honest, if I look at something, I'm looking at my screen, and the things around me naturally do not pop. Yeah. Are they still visible? Yeah, but I'm not seeing them, so they don't pop out. Like they get a little blurry sometimes, like out of focus.
So they can kind of blur the sides, and it won't matter to you. Like
it's kind of like I forget how they bundle. It was like an out of focus effect where, and Zach, you hit it right in the head, where they can be able to put more that's in front of you and still have the stuff around you that you need for that immersive feel.
Yeah. And I think it's helpful too, because I think the other issue was like, where do you put stuff in VR, and like you're moving your head, and they've had to like kind of rework what like cutscenes are or whatever this else. But if you like, they know where your eyes are looking at, they can really, I think, maybe make sure of like where stuff's placed at and whatever else. Like that's really exciting. There's a lot of possibilities I hadn't even thought of, but there's that there. And this is what was really cool. So I love the PS5 controller so much that like I want to get all the third-party games this gen on the, like I love playing with the PS5 controller and the tactile feedback and the triggers and stuff. So that's coming to the new controllers. So they have brand new controllers. We're done with PS3 Move. Throw those little wands out. And that's going to have that same technology that's in the DualSense or whatever controller. I think that's what's called DualSense.
Yeah.
Controllers are in that. And I'm like, awesome. But then they said that same technology is going to be in the headset. They have not shown the headset yet at all. But they said that, like, let's just use my head, whatever, as the VR thing. They can put, like, say you get hit or, like, somebody's throwing rocks at the character, they can put little, like, bumps on your headphone right now. Or like,
I instantly thought of, like whoa, horror games. I thought of horror games.
Oh, yeah, if you could feel like a spider crawl. Like, they said they can make it feel like a spider's crawling on you. And I was like, well, that sucks. For horror, like I'm never doing that, but that's cool.
Scary.
That's very, like, crazy.
I don't know about you guys, but when I always look at specs of headsets now, because all these there are so many headsets coming out. If you guys haven't looked, like you can get a Lorenzo something freaking headset for like $200. Like they are just dropping left and right, and if you're not careful, you can end up getting like a crap headset or a good headset. And I'm gonna tell you right now, the PSVR 2 is going to be spec-wise one of the best headsets on the market.
Yeah.
There will not be a headset that has... the OLED HDR 4K displays, there's only one headset that has 4K displays built in, and it's like $400.
Yeah.
And so the fact that we're getting 4K in each eye with OLED support...
Yeah.
That is
the resolution
huge.
bump is huge. I forgot the exact DPI. I think it was like something like 400. I could be really wrong on this. I don't. It
was 2000 by 2040 per eye.
Yeah.
What's the price of it?
We don't know yet.
It's going to. I guarantee it's going to be $399 or $499.
Now the PSVR, I think hit that sweet spot of. I think it was $300. It was $300.
Yes.
I think
it's going to be more.
I think it's going to be
because you got the controllers. The controllers is what's going to change it. It's going to make it more expensive because
I think
of
after getting all those stimulus checks, guys, you better put some aside.
But you know what's cool?
2.
Here's the thing, and I will have a PSVR 2 because I am Zach. You're right. PlayStation has done a good job putting out some polished titles for PSVR. The PSVR just aged, and it aged fast. Because VR just exploded. This is where I think PlayStation is getting ahead of the curve, and they're going to try to create a long-term VR solution.
I think it did pretty good for them too. Like, it's doing good enough that they're making a second one. So I think it was a pretty good success for them, and I think it helped sell PlayStation consoles as well. Maybe not like major Microsoft numbers here, but also the other change I was going to mention was, thank God it's one cord.
Yeah, but USB-C.
The cable goes into the PS5, you're done.
Yep.
If you guys saw my setup, because I like to stream and whatever else, but the way I had to do that, there's the major box that had to plug. There was like 8 wires coming out. Like, you had to have like a total like 6 wires or something. I don't know, it's something crazy. But this literally just plugs into the PS5. Oh, like, that's so, yeah. I'm so excited.
I actually haven't played Astrobot yet because I just don't. I have from when I moved, I have my PSVR and all the cables in a box, and like I'm dreading.
It's like a
getting
puzzle.
That all out.
It's like a witness puzzle that you don't like. Like, it's all.
What's awesome?
You have to put in
the Oculus Quest 2, because I don't have a single cord attached to it.
Yeah.
And you know it's really cool.
And you can go to Target and say, "Get out of my play space."
I can
if you want.
They introduced air linking, so I can link to my PC via the air and play PC level games and have it on my never need a cable.
That's what I wished, and maybe it is something with like they just don't want the lag. I think of the Wii U technology all the time between that tablet and the console was perfect. And it's like, man, can't we get that rendering stuff between the VR headset and the PS5? Like, couldn't we figure that out? But hey, I'm not, complaining too much. Get Zach, one wire from AD.
When you get this PSVR 2 and you put it on, you're gonna blow your pants off.
Yeah,
it's gonna be such a mess.
And there's no cameras also for this.
Nope, they have what's becoming popular in the VR world, which thank God we are getting away from cameras. Is they're putting cameras in the headset, and these controllers they have like gyro already in them, so like the cameras will sense out what's around you in your immediate front. What's cool about what PSVR is doing is they're packaging a camera. Like, if you have a camera already, you can use that for additional tracking, so you can cover your back. Because the Oculus Quest 2,
I didn't know that.
The Oculus Quest 2 does not have a camera, and you will get lost if you have to reach behind your back.
Yeah.
Wow.
So a lot of good things are happening for VR.
Laugh. That makes sense now the way you put it. But when you read it, it was like, but you can't put your controllers behind your back. I'm like, what are you doing, getting arrested in the game? Like, why is my hands behind my back?
There is a cop simulator right now that you can go play. It's extremely racist. I would not recommend it because it's multiplayer.
Can't play the racist cop simulator.
Well, they all just it's.
But everything else you can play.
Bunch of kids that get in there and they say, "Well, I'm black," and then all the cops surround them. And I'm like, "What's wrong with you guys? Like,
well,
you're 12."
Unfortunately, you cannot play the game with the 12-year-olds, but you can play Horizon. They showed off Horizon. They're making Horizon VR game that looked freaking beautiful. I cannot wait to see what the screen looks like, because putting on the PSVR with the blurry, there's a level of blurriness of the PSVR because it was like hyper resolution, but it still was an incredible experience and like realism. So if you give me that bump in resolution, that tactile stuff on the headset, this thing's gonna be rad. That's gonna be day one for me. Day one, baby. Woo!
I'm here for it. That's awesome.
Well, there we have it.
Any other things going on, Zach?
Give a quick update. I bought during the yard sale video, I talked about how I don't think I talked to you guys about this. I bought what I thought was an anime. Like it was for a VCD player. Like, I didn't even have the thing. I just thought it looked cool or whatever. And
VCD.
It was these. I went to this yard sale, and it was this. I need to explain this scenario.
I'm trying to track with you. You're kind of scaring me. It's like the time you almost bought porn.
Hold on with me, Jacob. I think you're going to enjoy this story. I went late in the season to yard sale. There wasn't much going on, but I found this one off. It was a couple roads down as a middle. Like I had to take all these crazy roads, and I finally went to this yard sale, and it was. I think even when I got there, she asked me, "Was like, how'd you find it?" And I said, "Craigslist kind of took me on this map and took me on this thing." But it was an older Asian lady, and she had these anime, like an anime DVD, but it was a VCD. It was this old thing, but it looked cool to cover, like whatever. But it was this anime girls. But one of the pictures was like, it looked like it was a fan service girl, but the rest of it was like action on the back or whatever else. I didn't even know it was all in Japanese. I didn't even know the title. It just had Sprite on the front with all this stuff. I want to give an update because I couldn't play the thing, I was like, what is this? I looked it up. I had to use Google search, like image search, like take a picture of it. And I was like, what the frick is this? It was called Sprite Minami Between Two Worlds. So while I was working, I found a Daily Motion link to, they only made 2 episodes. It's a 2-episode miniseries anime. I start playing it. I'm working. Things are getting hot and heavy. Okay, the boy, the girl and stuff going. It's going heavier. It's more involved. There's no clothes. There's noises. I accidentally bought hentai at a yard sale.
Oh my gosh, you did it!
And here's the thing.
Oh my gosh.
Growing up with the internet, I learned about it at an early age, like hentai stuff. And I was like, this is like, I have no attraction to this at all. And I was like, I don't get this. After watching this, I still don't like it. But
you're not against it.
I understood it. While it was going, I went, I get the appeal
up
to this.
I want to know. I want you to bring Chelsea in here, right? I want to know her reaction to this.
No, I've locked the door. This is yard sale.
This is DweeBros. That's hilarious.
Are you serious?
So I finished both episodes. I wanted to see how it ended. I had to see the ending.
What was it called? Wait, what was it called?
In the same way. And actually, in the same way that Travis had to beat Hades 10 times to see the credits, I had to watch it over 15 times to really get the story.
You're lying right now.
That so part, yeah, but
you had to try out different builds.
Yeah. But, yeah, there's the update. I found out it wasn't just anime.
So
Anime Plus.
I'm being serious, though. Like... So what's the resale value? What are you going to do to get your money out of this?
I put it on eBay. You guys can buy it if you want. It's on there.
Is there a market for this?
I think there is. They keep making this stuff.
Oh, so. Gosh, can I ask a question? What was the lady's reaction when you went to buy that from her? So that's the thing. I thought back. I went back in my memory. I was like, how did this older Asian lady have this? And what was like... Did she like this? Or she just seemed like just a regular lady, like whatever. And she did tell me, she was like, you have to have a VCD player. Like, you have to have the specific player to play this. So she knew that, so she had to have seen it. Oh, I mean, I'm sure
she knew what player it was. She was like, you have to have like an old like thing to play it. So she had watched that at some point.
Wow, she was paying it forward.
Yeah.
She wanted more people to enjoy.
This same lady kept bringing stuff out of her house. Said, "You interested in this?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, she's cool." But she kept going in the house and bringing stuff back out.
She was trying to see what kinks you got. Like she got you on this one. She's trying to get you for the other one.
Maybe I'll go back this year and I'm gonna go. Got any more of this stuff? This stuff was.
I'm
great.
interested in some more of this.
Got any more of this?
Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah. I can't believe I nailed it on the head when I first said. Because at first I know we made those jokes.
Well, every time that I have a yard sale story, it involves it. I can't get away from it.
Keep getting around smut, dude. That's what it is. Like at this point,
I draw in smut. I think
you're gonna end up walking like, hey, this is this is the mattress we filmed Backdoor Sluts 9 on, and do you want to purchase this? Like at this point, that's what you're getting to that point now.
If the price is right.
Is it signed by anyone?
Is it signed or used by anyone?
Bro, at this point, you're gonna wind up with the casting couch, dude.
Listen, you're saying it might not be signed by anybody, but if you take a black light to that couch, you're gonna find a lot of signatures.
Oh gosh, how in the world do you put yourself in these situations?
I don't know. So if you want to get crazy, go to yard sales.
You need to attach a GoPro to you and record it and like post like your yearly like these are the best conversations I had with people.
Have I talked about the other sexual stories at yard sales I've had? Did I tell about like the people that were trying to sell me like there was vintage old Playboys?
Yes,
I talked about
yeah,
that.
you did talk about that.
Did I talk about like I went to one and it was the whole entire garage was sex toys and like.
I don't think we talked about that one.
Maybe next up. At this point,
all I bought from there was an old
thing.
ET doll, but I didn't buy any sex toys. Just the old ET.
You sure
doll.
ET doll wasn't stuck anywhere at any point?
Oh, that's what all the stains on it were.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know, Zach's been watching some hentai. I've been watching some anime. Attack on Titan.
Yep. The final season. Now, I've only watched the first two. I haven't watched the third one. But man, like every episode ends, I go, oh my goodness, oh my god, it was the same thing I did last. Have you read? You didn't read the manga? I didn't read the manga.
Hey, honestly,
so I don't know what's gonna happen.
I regret reading the manga because I feel like if I watched the anime, my blood would be like just boiling hot after each episode.
Oh, it's like everything the thing that I'm seeing now. I don't want to spoil it.
No.
But the things that they're doing are just like, and I love the theme song. The theme song.
Oh yeah, dude!
It's literally like hard metal, like
Slayer, bro.
Yeah, it's
like
it gets you hyped.
I'll tell you what. This is probably my all-time favorite anime.
This is my third favorite. It jumped all the way up to my number 3 for sure.
I think it might beat Naruto. I rewatched seasons 1 through 4 before they sent out like the second half, and I rewatched before the update, and I was like, yeah, this thing's good. This thing just hits on every cylinder.
There's no filler. Every episode is tight. You're like getting great stuff every episode. You're just diving in.
Is this the last season, and then there will be a movie also?
I think they're
putting a movie out too.
Yeah, it sounds like they're doing an Evangelion kind of thing with it, but
rumor has it that they are trying to finagle more Attack on Titan content because of the excitement around it. Nothing's been confirmed. It's just rumors because, unfortunately, we live in a society that can't let a good thing die.
And they kind of, with this season and the last things that they did, I could see some cool side story stuff. Like, they really could dive into a part without going, I have to really dance around it. But the stuff that they explored is like that could take place at a different time or different, whatever, and have really a good time with it. But as far as just this first thing, incredible. My third favorite anime. I can't wait to see how this freaking ends. But I think I've watched the first 2 of the latest. And I think they're doing 10 episodes.
It's gonna be quick, man. It hasn't stopped. I'll tell you right now. It hasn't stopped. I don't think it will stop.
Every episode is like it kind of feels like a big giant finale. Like every episode, you're just watching something else.
Zach. I sat here and I debated because I know we'd probably get copyrighted, but I was like, I found out how to stream video to like OBS and not have it go black screen. And I was like, I want to watch Attack on Titan and react
for the rest of the podcast
and just react to it because it's just that good.
It's great. So that's good. Righteous Gemstones came back. They've been gone for a little bit. So this show, Danny McBride, Vice Principals, did Eastbound and Down. Great freaking funny shows. So first, at the end of the season 1 or whatever, is like, do we need more of this? So the whole plot of this show, for those that don't know, it's about big evangelical, like these mega churches. And Danny McBride plays one of the sons of, dang it, what's his name? That's, have you seen this? Like the whatever for it, the promo?
I'm familiar with it. I don't know the guy's name,
I forgot the guy's name. I'm going to look it up real quick, but it's, what is his name? It's going to be right here. John Goodman is like the head. He's the kind of the patriarch of this mega church. Danny McBride, Adam Devine, and Edie Patterson are like the main people here in the show. Those are like the daughter and the two sons. Freaking hilarious. Me and my wife love every episode. And this is how the last season was, but I think this turned it up to 11. You don't know what you're getting. Like every episode and every scene, you'll just see these actors in the funniest, the weirdest reactions, the things they're doing. They'll crank it up to 15. Like it goes into Looney Tune territory with what they're exploring, and then it'll come back to Earth, and it's really funny. And we're loving it. It's extremely funny, and they just make fun of wacky, out there Christian stuff. It's really funny.
Yeah, I've had that on my radar for a while. It looked like a really funny show that would be fun to watch. So that and Succession are probably two of the shows that have been out more recently that were more interesting looking to me.
Yeah, very funny. And my wife has never seen Seinfeld, so we are watching through Seinfeld right now.
Nice.
It's so funny to me, like are you literally sitting and watching episode to episode?
Yeah.
So like Jess has been watching a ton of Seinfeld lately, and it's just always on in the background.
Yeah,
if we're going to throw it on, I'll just start at the beginning of season 3. So I've been watching a lot of Seinfeld lately passively.
Yeah.
But it's so funny to me that you and Chelsea will sit down, season 1, episode 1. We're gonna watch Seinfeld and go through it
we
that.
eat dinner weeknights, and we'll just sit there and we'll watch 2 episodes and stuff, be done for the night.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I've seen it all the way through once before, and growing up, my dad was obsessed with it. Like he built it. All of the mannerisms and stuff my dad has and humor is from Jerry Seinfeld. So it's cool when I got to see it for the first time. It's like, that's my dad. I'm watching like all the stuff my dad. That's where he got it from. Like I have to see the origin story of my dad. But
that's funny.
It's really funny, like revisiting some of these episodes. Like there's extremely funny moments and stuff in it. So really good. Seinfeld.
I wanted to give you guys a heads up because it's been a couple months, and I actually watched some movies.
What'd you watch?
In a couple months. Rudy, one of the all-time classic sports movies. Rudy, and I watched Radio. And I basically I went on a sports binge. I wanted to watch a bunch of sports, a bunch of 90s and 80s sports movies.
Wait. Well, I guess I thought Rudy and Radio were the same movie. Aren't they about a guy and he plays for the team? And
no, not at
all.
And which one is the one where the guy's like the janitor and he plays for the team?
That's Rudy. Rudy's the janitor, and he's trying to
Radio?
get on. Radio is the one that's a mentally challenged black boy.
I thought they were the same thing.
No,
I thought it was the same movie.
No, two completely different movies. No, I just I don't know. I really got a big sports kick, and I was sitting here at my desk one day, and I was passively filling out bids for a customer, and I was like, I don't want to watch something in the background. I was like, you know what's a great movie I haven't seen in a long time? We used to have it on DVD. Actually, we used to have it on what was the other unpopular DVD format that didn't make it? HD DVD.
Yeah,
HD DVD.
We had an HD DVD copy of Rudy. And
man, that's gonna go for some doubloons.
Yeah, sure it does. I pulled up a YouTube. It was $1.99 to rent, and I was like, I'm gonna rent Rudy and I'm gonna watch it. So I watched Rudy and
rent Rudy.
That's a good. You know what? It's a good movie. It is. It just hits all those like typical heartfelt moments. We have a kid who just all he wants to do is his entire motive. I guarantee when they sat down, it was like, we are looking for a Rudy. They said, what's your motive? You want to go to Notre Dame and play football. That's your only motive. That's the only motive you have for acting. And they hired a kid who wanted to go to Notre Dame and play football. That's the entire movie. He works his way up trying to get onto that field. And I'll never forget, it was awesome because they're killing this team in the end of the movie, and they're like, we need to play another, we need to put in our JV, our underclassmen, they need to get reps. And then you see the whole players like, Rudy. And you're sitting there at home, and you're like, bro, this never happens. Like, never ever does this happen. Like, it happens when like you have someone who has that heartfelt, like, maybe a kid that's been on the team, like, has a disability or something. But there's never that kid who's like, yeah, this kid sucked his entire career. He's never played it down, and the whole fan base does not chant his name.
Yeah, nobody knows who he is.
And then he comes in and gets a sack. Like, that's the moment. It's like, man, this is so movie-esque. But it's cool. It's a good movie. Radio will make you cry. If you haven't seen Radio...
I've not seen Radio.
I've seen this. I need to look this up.
I'm dead serious. Radio's not like a football movie. It's
all
more
these
of like
movies I probably saw in passing on TV one night or something. I feel like
probably. I would tell you, you would want to see Radio. It's about a kid who has like a nonverbal issues. He's not able to speak well, and he uses radios, and like he loves what the sounds radios make. He loves tinkering with radios, and one day he's passing a football field, and the football kids pick on him, and the coach catches on, and then the coach gets to know Radio, and it's his story about him and the coach and how they, grow as a relationship. Good movie.
I know why I thought they were the same movie. Maybe I think a lot of people maybe mix us up because I looked up Radio and it popped up. When they do a DVD and it's like two sides and it's like two movies. It's Rudy and Radiohead. Rudy and Radio.
It's Rudy. They should do one where it's Rudy and then Radiohead, like an album.
Radiohead album.
That's I'm sorry.
I don't know why I thought these were the same.
Radiohead.
I guess
you had that DVD stuck in your head. That's what happened.
I guess that's why they. Go together. Well, are you watching any more football movies?
I think the only one I want to watch now is The American Underdog about Kurt Warner, because I want to see that. I like Kurt Warner as a player. I like what he did in the league for the time he was there. So that one's on there.
You gonna watch the classic? Remember the Titans?
I haven't worked my way there yet.
Have you seen that?
I've seen Remember the Titans. Dude, Mighty Ducks.
That movie rocks.
I don't like that movie a lot.
Hold on, Jacob.
What?
Have you ever watched not the movie, the show Friday Night Lights?
No, I haven't.
That show would change your life. That is.
Oh, come on.
That show would change your life.
It's like Attack on Titan for sports.
You would devour that show. I could not pick a better. Okay, and here's something you'll love about it. The first season of Friday Night Lights is a perfect season of television about these kids on their senior and junior year of high school football. But it's directed by the guy that directed all 10 episodes of the first season of The Leftovers, too. So it has some of that tone to it. I love Friday Night Lights. The show, it is best football movie or TV ever is the first season of Friday Night Lights.
So
you would love it.
Speaking of, you mentioned The Leftovers. Are we at?
I'll watch it if you finish Leftovers.
I finished season 2.
Hey!
I finished season 2.
All right, season 3 will be complete, right?
Yeah.
By next episode of the podcast.
That seems super unlikely.
You heard it from my mouth, not from Travis's.
I am trying to finish up some other things, but we'll start season freaking 3.
You like how season 2 ended?
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, season 2 ended up being really
Jacob
good.
Got to hear,
season 2 ended up having a really good ending. I really liked it a lot, and it was very interesting. I really liked all the stuff with the other side and how that all was done, and kind of what led up to it was pretty shocking. Mm-hmm. I thought the season 2, although I was a little worried in the middle of it with the pastor episode. That was almost my
we heard
break
about
it
that
moment. But it got better after that, and I will say season 2 was good.
Okay, we're moving forward then. I'm glad to hear.
Forward.
I'm convinced I'll play Last of Us Part 3 before he finishes, but yeah.
Definitely, though, Friday Night Lights Season 1. I wouldn't be recommending you something I didn't think you would like, which is the difference of what you did to me with The Leftovers. So
no,
I'm finishing it.
This.
At this point,
I'm finishing it.
At this point, I'm not doing anything you asked me to do until you complete the one bet we did make.
I'm working on it. I'm not telling you to do it. I'm just saying, just know this. You're on a sports kick. I know how you get with TV shows. When you get onto a theme, you like to watch everything in that theme. I'm just telling you, the Friday Night Lights TV show, I think you would absolutely become obsessed with that show, especially talking about being a coach, trying to be a football coach. Like, I think you would love it. It's so good. I actually think Zach would like it. It's not about football. It's about all these young guys and all the stuff they're going through. Very
puberty. Good. Those days.
Very good show.
I'll have to check it out. Maybe I'll finish it before you finish Leftovers season 3.
If you watch the pilot of Friday Night Lights,
I'm not doing any other bets. I'm not even being.
I'll finish Leftovers season 3 before we have another podcast.
Okay, deal. Because you want to know why? I will tonight watch the first episode.
Good.
And Travis, I will burn your mother effing house down if you don't have season 3 done.
When you're on the last episode and you're like staying up till 4, you know what he's gonna be doing? His head's gonna be on the pillow, boy.
If you watch the pilot of Friday Night Lights, I will finish the Leftovers before the next podcast.
How many bets on top of bets till he finishes Leftovers?
I'm like Uncut Gems over here.
I will slash your tires if you do not hold up your bet.
Dude, you're gonna end up like Adam Sandler and Uncut Gems.
I mean it, Jacob. I mean it.
Slash them clean off, dude. It'll be gone. I'm just letting you know.
I mean it. I'll go see what my wife's doing right now. We'll go sit down and watch it.
Well, we have started 2022 with a bang. Jacob is back. We're basically the Avengers are back. Thanos snapped him for a little bit, but Spider-Man saved him. He saved
Spider-Man. I saw that movie too.
Oh yeah.
We'll talk about it later.
Oh yeah,
It was fun. It was fun, guys. Well, thank you guys for joining. Hey, DweeBros on Twibber. It's a new social media. Twibber. On Twitter, DweeBros. Hey, Hangouts every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Pierce, my buddy Pierce, has been joining in as a regular on there. We've been having a lot of fun. We've been ranking stuff. We've been ranking philosophers one time. We were ranking the attractiveness of fast food mascots. Travis was there for that one.
That was awesome.
A little crazy during that. We found the origin story of Wendy for Wendy's. All types of fun stuff that we uncover, and talk about, and play some games. What could be better than that? But thank you. This has been the podcast. If you've got this far, we salute you. Like and subscribe, and let us know, Rudy or Radiohead, which is better.